This is unprecedented. I'm Adam Klein, winner of Survivor Millennials vs. Generation X. Super duper fans, gather round. It's time for another installment of Survivor Talk with D&D.
Welcome to our preseason party with Jessica Lewis and David Wright. That's right. Thank you, live audience. We appreciate it. Thank you. My name is Dwayne, and I am here with my best friend and co-host, David Jones, and we're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. So, David, you're looking great with your Batman hat and all the buffs behind you. How are you doing, David Jones?
I feel like I'm about to walk into the other room and open my Survivor Christmas presents.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've been doing the Stranger Things podcast for a couple weeks, and I've been putting this off because I didn't want to get into any Survivor while we're doing Stranger Things. And now that I've gotten in, I think that's all I've been doing. And
oh, my gosh.
At work,
I know.
I've noticed that's all I've been looking at. And at home, all I've been looking at. And I'm so excited about this season.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I like this season. I'm also excited that we've got real people here to talk about the show that actually know about the show.
People that have been out
You've already mentioned their names, so there's not much for me to introduce.
No, I haven't.
You did in the Welcome to the Preseason Party.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
David, read the notes. Read the notes.
Well, introduce them anyway.
We'll introduce first our good friend, returning D&D friend and podcast member, Jessica Lewis. Hi, Jessica.
Hello, everyone, and I apologize that we are starting late. That's totally my fault.
Well, the only people who know that are the people watching us
back.
live, so you're all good. I
know, but those people might have been frustrated, so it's my fault, but thanks for having me back. I love chatting with you guys. This is great. And
thank you.
Shirt, you should all order a t-shirt.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
STWDD.com/store.
There you go.
There you go. Who's that other guy?
Various sizes and colors. It's perfect.
Yes, that's true.
The other guy Jessica. Not wearing an STWDD t-shirt, but wearing a nice polo. And sporting a lumberjack beard for who knows why, is Mr. David Always You're Right. So how you doing, David?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. This is my first time here, and it's really cool. I've watched you guys, big fan. So I'm happy to talk all things Survivor.
We are so glad to have y'all two on the show. We're going to have a good old time talking about all three of these tribes. I am so pumped about this season, and I wasn't until I started looking at all the people. So, y'all, this is our 12th season of Survivor and our 309th episode. Our first episode. I know, cool.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Here, just a second. There you go. We recorded our first episode on January 20th of 2012. It's a long time ago. Survivor One World, and we did not have former guests. Of former survivors as guests back then. In fact, we had about 10 listeners back then.
And even though we started with One World, we kept going.
Yes. Yeah, because that was but so seriously, we want to thank everyone who's been listening. Some of you have been listening since the beginning, and we really appreciate you. And some of you started today. This is your first one because you heard Jessica and David were going to be on, and so you tried us out. Thank you. And also, seriously, a big thank you to Survivor Fans Podcast. Are y'all familiar with them? Say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good. Gosh.
That was perfect, David.
Yes. Well, seriously, Stacy and Joanne helped me out a lot. In fact, they boosted our numbers right off the bat by introducing our show on their show because I was a big listener of theirs. So you can listen to them at getsfp.com. Survivor Fans Podcast. Of course, you can go to our website. What's our website? STWDD.com. But let's get on to some Survivor. All righty. That was.
If only they really had that music on the island.
Yeah. That was actually longer than most of the intros during the season.
That's true. They didn't do our intro. I was sad that they didn't do ours.
Yeah. Well,
they made it. You can look at it.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, yes. I have this season's. Do I? No. As soon as they release this season's intro, I'll have it on our website. It's like, there's a background video when you go to our website, and right now it's the Props take on the cast members. But as soon as I get the full one, I'll have it on there. But anyway. All right. So, David, why don't you – I'm going to let David lead this podcast along. So, David, I'm turning it over to you and eating my M&Ms.
Those are not chips.
I know because
what about these?
Oh,
we're supposed to have these, remember?
See, I
and almonds.
To get cream cheese and almonds. Oh, he's just. Okay.
So, David,
that's hysterical.
Okay, welcome to our preseason party. I hope you brought something to drink and eat. David Wright brought almonds. I brought the number one selling candy in America, M&M's, peanut M&M's, Mega, because I'm
Mega.
big. Jessica brought the, of course, what's it called?
Salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, I
Can't live without these.
Yeah, they're not here. I've looked for them, and I cannot find any. So I'm going to give you my address.
Listen, we discussed this. I was going to send you a bag, and you were like, no, we're good. We've got this stuff here.
Well, now you're going to send me a bag. Yes,
I'm going to send you.
I will send you money, and you send me a bag.
No. I got it. No.
Jessica's
it's a thank you for my shirt.
No, you save your money and get a new computer.
Oh yeah.
No.
I'm going to get you a new computer, and you get me some kettle chips.
The computer is horrible.
Yes.
It's horrible.
I'm telling you.
And I'm so sorry.
I'm telling you, Rob's good. Okay. Let's get this done now because, not everybody listens to the entire show. Jessica has a wonderful opportunity. She is going to be co-host of a show called Why Blank Lost.
Blank Lost.
Why don't you tell us about it,
with
Jessica?
David Bloomberg.
Yes, over at RHAP.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that will be starting, I believe, maybe the beginning of next week.
Yeah.
We'll be doing our first show. So I will be doing a show a week. And I'm very excited that I have this opportunity. Why Blank Lost is one of my favorite podcasts.
That's all right.
And now I get to be a part of it. So that's pretty sweet.
Well,
so I'm excited about that.
And now I'm going to listen to it.
Tell everybody your Twitter handle because you're going to post a link to it every time you do it. So what's your Twitter handle?
Jessica Lewis 89. So make sure you check me out, okay? And I'll make sure to post all of the podcasts like I have been doing, and I'll keep you all informed as the season goes along.
I'm looking forward to listening to it. I think it's going to be great.
Me too. I can't wait.
Of course, that means we can't have you on this whole season, so we're a little upset, but that's okay.
I know that makes me a little sad too, but I will be thinking of you. I will be listening to you.
It's all right. We'll just have David on. David's connections. David's connection's really good.
But if you should happen to say something that I think is on my podcast, I might just give you a shout out.
Okay. I have no doubt you would make the shout out. I don't know if it would make the show, but you would definitely make the shout out. But hey,
just might. You just wait.
Anyway, we definitely want y'all to go watch that. Or it's probably audio, right?
Yeah, I think it's just audio.
So y'all go listen to that. All right, David, carry on.
So when the repairman shows up at Jessica's house, is he actually going to say, "Why does your computer smell like salt and vinegar chips?"
Yes.
Or from all the crumbs inside?
That's what it is.
Sorry. I've been waiting 5 minutes to say that, so y'all just got into another topic. So let me get back to watching Survivor. I want to ask you two professionals, how do you guys watch Survivor? Especially, my favorite episodes are the first episode, the merge episode, and usually a swap episode. The finale here lately almost seems predictable. I hate to say it, kind of feels that way, but I love the first episode because it's first impressions, and then I love the swap and I love the merge. How do you guys watch? You've already had a chance to watch, of course, 2 seasons, your own and the Game Changers. How do you guys watch, and what do you look for in the first episode? Jessica, I'll go to you first.
Well, I try to look for who, obviously, because you make these impressions or you have impressions or ideas of people that you've read about and you've seen their little video blurbs, but then you actually get to see them play the game. So you get your initial idea of who I can root for. But then you also are trying to look for how is the tribe going to work together? Are they cohesive? Are they going to blow up? Because honestly, I love those seasons when you can kind of predict there's going to be a blow up in the tribe because those are always fun to watch. So I do really enjoy the first episode because you are getting to learn the characters and you're getting to learn the people and different things about them. and it does kind of set the course for what you can expect as the season moves forward.
Do you think there'll be a blow up?
Absolutely. Absolutely, there's going to be a blow up, and I think I can predict who might be involved in the blow up. But I think there's going to be a blow up.
So
wow!
Hot take. Let us know who it.
Let us save that for later. Those of you listening, you have to wait.
Yes.
All right. What about you, David?
Well, the only season I've ever seen is ours, so I'm excited to really. No, I actually.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
He is not a super fan.
It was all fake.
No, I've seen everything like 4 times at least. It's kind of like what Jessica was saying a little bit. I look for maybe this is a little self-serving, but I like to look for the people that I relate to the most, and so those are the people that I root for the most because you feel invested in them. It's almost like you're there playing.
Right.
So and I've got actually, I think maybe more so than any other season. This season, I feel like I have a lot more people that I kind of identify with and are rooting for.
At least 2, right?
You have
more than that.
A lot of people who like you too, David. They relate
to
you.
Oh, that's very nice.
Well, and really, they liked you more and more as the season went on.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. The internet totally hated me in the beginning, but I feel like I'm. It's like 50-50 now.
Yeah. Well, and just don't get on Reddit, and you'll be okay.
I know.
Don't do it. It's a bad hole. Do not get in there.
It's like if there's 10 really nice compliments and then 1 really negative comment, that's the only thing I'll focus on.
I know. I hate it. Me too.
David, that's weird.
I know. See, that's weird. That's weird.
See, David, you're so horrible. That's just weird. Oh.
So anything negative said, I'm not going to assume it's to me.
Yes,
so
of course not.
You said that, I felt pointed at, but anyway.
Yeah, you could tell.
So getting ready for the season, like we talked about pre-show, I didn't do anything until last week. And Mike K put on our Facebook group the links to Josh Wigler's First One Out podcast. That's the first time he's done it this year. He was the only person to go out to the beach. Gordon and Dalton didn't make it this year. So Wigler went out there and he had these, I call incredible entrance interviews. Some of them were actually during day one. I think some of them were actually after it had started, but we usually get good exit interviews where we get a little, this should have happened or a little creative explanation. But these are entrance interviews, which I think are wonderful because they're just conversations. And I really enjoy hearing people talk because as they're talking, I like to listen for, connotations or how they talk or what they focus on. And I got so much out of these interviews that basically my notes are from Josh Wigler's podcast. So and I want to ask you guys, what do you think of the 2 truths, 1 lie litmus test that he started with all but one of these survivors?
I personally really enjoyed that. I didn't know that he didn't do it for everybody. That's very interesting. There was one player, and I can't remember who, but they paused. They made their lie the last thing, and they paused before the lie. So you gotta have your lie in your head before you start. But and I hope they're not watching and feel hurt. But
oh, hey, guess what? Too bad. It's gonna happen. and I'll love them all to death.
I did appreciate the people that had to be explained what it was. Like they didn't really understand the concepts behind 2 truths and a lie. I thought that was great. That was entertaining. But then I also really appreciated the people that truths and the lie reflection. Like they were like, I'm an honest person. I don't lie. It was like that you think about yourself that other people can't necessarily see. So I thought that was really interesting too, because they were themselves and not really playing the 2 truths and a lie game. So I thought that was pretty telling as well.
Yeah, I'm likable. I'm not likable, and I lie.
Or they told 3 truths.
Well, maybe that's what you think about yourself.
Yeah.
But so exactly. I thought that was entertaining.
Or they would tell like 3 truths or 3 lies, or they tell 5 things.
Oh, there was one that there was one that did like 3 truths.
Yeah, just kind of makes you wonder. Yeah.
We'll pick on them when we get to them. I like that it put him on the spot in a relaxed moment, because every time somebody came in, he said, it's just us. We're just chilling. We're going to talk over this. And they were relaxed, and then he catches them off guard. So what I want to do is I want to actually play that game right now with y'all.
Oh, God.
So come on. I just set you up. You knew it was coming.
Jessica first. Do Jessica first.
What? I'll go first. Do you want to go first, Jessica? Because if not, I'll go first. Unless you want to go first.
You can go first.
I'll go first because I've been thinking
you're ready for this. Like,
I am ready.
Yeah, like you're prepared.
But I wanted to be prepared.
I'm writing them down right now.
Dwayne is my best friend, and he knows about me. So I had to come up with things that I don't think he knows about. So let's see. Let me speak it so I make sure I know I'm playing the right game. 2 truths and 1 lie.
Yes. Okay. So you're going to give us like A, B, and C, and then we're all going to like guess which one. Yes, we are absolutely stealing this from the show.
Yes, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It is a great icebreaker, but it also shows us who these people are. Some of these people told 3 completely different lines. One was personal, one was occupational, one was outdoor. Some people told everything about the outdoors, and to me, that told me who that guy was. He was all about the outdoors, So it really told you who they were at the same time. But
look at this. You read that?
Is he calling you?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Who is that?
Okay,
Who's calling you? Who?
He's giving you a lie. He's giving you a lie.
All right, David.
I
2
can't
truths.
Think of anything now.
2 truths and 1 lie.
All right, so here's my 2 truths and a lie in no particular order.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Oh, you mean we're not supposed? Okay, I'm sorry, because we haven't even gotten to the people yet. So
I'm not going to say the word truth before I tell you one of the lies. Okay. Here's the first one. I finished in the top 7% of my class in high school. No comment necessary. Here's the second one. When I was little, I bit into a raw squid on a dare from my brother because he told me it had superpowers. And here's the third one. The first time I ever got on a horse, it threw me off.
All right. Can I guess? Am I allowed to guess first? Can I guess first?
All 3
Go
of you can
ahead.
guess, yeah.
You're right. Go ahead.
Okay. The horse is the lie.
All right. I think the squid is a lie.
I'm agreeing with the squid being a lie.
All right, David.
So, yes, the first and only time I ever got on a horse, it threw me off. And I've never been on a horse since.
So,
I want to be right.
So you're
I
right
did
is
finish
winning.
in the top 7% of my class in high school.
Oh,
So the squid is the right answer.
Jessica,
Man,
we are amazing.
I thought I built it
Guess
up.
what?
I thought I had it good.
No. Here's your problem.
Well, you beat
You
me.
have you have a tell.
What's your tell?
You have a tell. I caught it in 2 seconds. You have a tell.
What's his tell?
Did
What's
you
his
see
tell?
what he did this little thing with his nose right before he did that? Right
Oh my
before
gosh.
he did the second one.
How did
What,
you
like,
find that?
Like Bewitched?
I swear to God.
It started to bleed when
He
I told
did
the
a lot-
lie.
I
so
did-
had to cover it up.
Okay. See, he looked left, which I think is a sign of you trying to
Okay.
imagine something.
I did that for the first one. Yes.
Boy, y'all are really overanalyzing this.
But see,
All right.
that's the bad part. We couldn't watch these people when they were doing their 2 truths and a lie. We only get to hear it.
Yeah.
So we had to listen. All right, who's ready?
I'm ready.
That's interesting.
I am ready.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, and Jessica, really quick. Ken says hi.
Hi, Ken.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Ken.
He's awesome.
I know you didn't say hi to us, but hello.
All right, Dwayne. What
All
are
right.
your?
Because Jessica is cheating. All right, here you go.
For those of y'all listening, Dwayne is holding his paper up in front of his face
Okay.
so she can't see his tail.
Okay, here's number 1. I have been attacked by a killer dog. Number 2, I have shot a bow and arrow at a pig and missed. Number 3, I was attacked by a cow. I shouldn't have
you
tried
poor
to milk it,
person.
I'm telling you.
Go ahead, Jess. I guessed first last time. You guess first this time.
I guess the killer dog one that's your lie.
That's my lie, okay? Right.
David, you go next.
I'm going to go with the cow.
The cow is a lie, okay?
So,
David?
like Josh Wigler, I have background on Dwayne.
Yeah,
so
he knows
I know
one
about
of
the
them.
killer dog. So
Yeah.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to say.
A mama pit bull
but-
with puppies.
I want to think he's nuts enough to shoot a pig with a bow and arrow, so I'm going to go with the cow as the lie.
All 3 of you were wrong. I have never shot a bow and arrow at a pig and missed, but I have been attacked by a cow and a pit bull.
Wait, have you ever shot a bow and arrow at a pig and not missed?
No. There you go.
That's good.
Yeah, those are the really sneaky ones.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like I shot a pig in a red shirt. It was blue. All right. No, I was attacked by a killer dog. It was a pit bull. She had puppies, and she was not happy about me being in the yard.
Oh no!
And then
I don't like dogs.
I mooed at a cow a couple too many times, and it came at me. So. Wow. All right, Jessica or Wright? And,
that's crazy.
Jessica, go ahead.
Reminding you, we have these things to talk about.
Oh my God, I'm so not ready for this.
I've seen you lie so much.
Yes.
Right? I have to really think about this.
She has a tail. Right, she's touching her ear. Look. See,
here's Jessica.
Yeah. Look at her nose.
I love purple rocks.
Okay. All right, let's see. Ooh, what can I don't even know what I should tell you all. Let's see. Okay.
See, that's the imagining. It's the eyes. That's like she's about to lie.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm because I'm thinking about, I know things about myself that are really interesting that you might be like, oh, that would be a lie. But then, okay, let's see. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go with, man.
No, you are not a man. I call it.
Do you have anything? I have to think.
I can go now if you want.
I need another truth.
Okay. I hate cilantro. I was born without a heartbeat, and Eric Clapton gave me a guitar lesson.
I'm going the cilantro's a lie.
I'm going to go with the heartbeat is a lie.
I'm going to go with I want to go with the Eric Clapton just to be different, but for some reason I think you could have slid into that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the heartbeat thing.
Dwayne got it. He got the lie. Cilantro. I love cilantro.
Woo!
I love cilantro.
How cool is it that you have an Eric Clapton thing?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else interesting that
and the whole heart thing.
Talk about.
Wow. And see, was that did we hear that at some point during your season?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Oh, well, for some reason.
Yeah, we would have liked him then.
Yeah.
Oh,
golly.
That 50-50 would have been 95-5.
Gosh.
That was mean.
Yeah, David. Golly.
No, we liked him the whole time. He's David. I had to vote for him. So.
Well, that's true. All right, Jessica.
All right. Okay. I'm ready. Okay. Here we go.
You're almost.
I have two pieces of the Titanic, and I grew up with a pet pig.
Okay.
What was the first one? I didn't hear what you were allergic to.
The first one was a lie.
You were allergic to what?
Shellfish.
Okay.
Shellfish is my lie.
That's totally your lie.
Yeah, I'm saying shellfish because David is always right.
Yep.
David is always right. I couldn't think of what else I should say I'm allergic to. See, I'm a bad liar.
I was on an island. I watched you eat shit.
I was like, oh, wait. That's a good point. I tried to come up with something really quick. Should have said I was allergic to peanut butter.
Really quick. You had like 10 minutes. That's all right. All right, David.
I know, but it's pressure.
I know. All right, David Jones. We are 25 minutes in. Let us talk about Survivor players.
We've joked on them. So yeah, we'll get. I have some other questions, but we'll get to those as we get through the names. Or Dwayne's going to have a cow run into him again. So let's first. I'm going to take them in the same order that Josh did, and start with the hero tribe first. Levu or Levu. I'm not sure what that's called. If Probst called it by the right name, I didn't hear it because I usually didn't listen to anything.
What do y'all think? I think it's Levu or Levu.
I'm going to say Levu.
Yeah, Levu.
Yeah, Levu. Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever Probst calls it. So.
All right, so the first one he talked to is the mostly retired NFL cornerback who played 9 years in the NFL, Allen. He's 32 years old, and my first impression of Allen was that I liked him enough that I think he'd do better the second time he plays.
Huh.
I think he's one of those people that's going to be socially good. He's going to be adaptable. He really talked about being adaptable a lot. I loved his interview. I think he could do well. I don't think he can win. I think he would get picked off for being a threat, but I liked him. So what did y'all think about him? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, guys.
Well, one of my favorite quotes from him, and I actually read some of their bios, was the answer was, who are you most like? And he said, I honestly don't think you will see gameplay like mine. One of the only things I have in common with people on past seasons is that there was a winner. He's definitely got some confidence.
Yeah, he does have some confidence. I always think it's interesting, though, when people want to say that you've never seen any gameplay like mine, because you don't really know what's going to end up happening when they get out there. They might have an idea in their head of what they're going to do, but then they get out there and they realize that's not what they can do. So he and himself, which I think is great. I do think it's interesting that I think it was Ben that kind of called him out on the fact that, like, he's here for a different reason. Like, there's something else going on. And he was very, and Alan was very clear with, like, I'm here because he has something to prove to himself. Read that someone else who's been watching him got that there's a reason he's there, and it's not necessarily the $1 million, and it's not necessarily because he's out on an island and all this. There's something else deeper inside of him. I thought that was an interesting read.
Yep. And, you know, one thing that David Jones likes to say is that somebody ripped like this. So we got several guys that are, you know, cut like me. And is that, you know, they don't have a lot of fat reserve, you know, and they get out there and it gets a little rough for them because they need all that protein and they're not getting it. You know, someone like me, I don't need a lot of protein. My body has plenty of extra food.
Well, to your point, actually, Alan Ball did say that he has a temper that could come out when he's hungry.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and so if he can't keep that in check, and it's hard to if you're not getting the calories, then that could be an issue with him. But he is very physical, and that should keep him safe until the merge at least. And he also comes off as very thoughtful and soft-spoken, and I think that's kind of what you want in a tribe mate. So I think, I don't know, I like his chances, but there's some things that he's going to have to battle with.
Yeah, his whole comment about not liking people that don't pick up after themselves, after about 10 days of not eating, that might be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He seemed to have a good grasp of a lot of the little facets of the game. A lot of it was about teamwork. A lot of it was about working with people, dealing with people, like how he can work with two guys one day, the next day they're cut. He's got two different guys to work with. He's got to adapt to that. I like that because there's always a swap when there starts with three tries. A swap comes quick. You still got to be lucky or you have to be good in that sense.
Yeah.
But he also knows that when it comes down to cutting time, he needs to find himself in a more valuable position to the tribe than other people. I like his chances in a group, but what I wonder, and what my point was about a second time was, I think in the individual game where you have to build and form behind people's back is where he's not going to be as strong this season, where I think he could be better on another season. Yeah. I just see his team game being really strong, someone you want to work with. Like, I think he's very easy to talk to and he's a good conversationalist. I just think when he gets to the end, I think that's where he's going to struggle and that's where he'll probably get picked off and not quite be at the end. I still like his chances to get to at least the merge.
You know what?
The other thing too that he did mention that he wants to be a silent leader could potentially be a detriment to him because it might be hard for him to maintain his silence. You know, if he has the desire to be a leader and do it in a fashion that doesn't call attention to himself.
Right.
Strives to be a leader. So that may be an interesting play as well.
Yeah. One of the things, like, I decided I was going to go ahead just for my own personal benefit because I have to pick a team for a Survivor challenge that I'm a part of. I gave him 2 stars out of 5. And part of the reason is, like, at this point in our conversation, I have nothing else to say about him. You know, I got plenty to say about some other people, but I'm already done with him. So for me, he's a 2-star, and that's partially because there's one guy on here that I had to readjust everything because he had to be a 1, but no one else could be. Because he was so bad.
Wow. Oh, God.
I can't wait to see who your 1 is.
Yeah.
So anyway, So Alan's 2, and I don't have a whole lot else to say about him.
Unless anybody else wants to say anything, he did do well at the 2 lies and a truth, 2 truths and a lie game, and they were 3. Their education, yes, unlike it was about education, family, and boating. So that were his 3 very different, very well put games. So he couldn't lie. I always wonder though, if I would love to see someone's face if they tell you I'm an insurance adjuster, like, really? So am I. Where do you work? I would love to see somebody's face if that was their lie and somebody calls them out on it.
That'd be good.
I would just like to see that, and then I would joke and say, no, I'm not, because they would know I'm lying.
By the way, you guys keep talking. Can I turn on some more lights? I feel like I'm in the dark.
Oh, please do.
No, David.
No, you're not allowed. Earlier, he asked me if he could get up and go get almonds. I was like, yes, David, you have my permission.
He's so great. I love David.
I love him. Oh,
he's so great.
So, David,
I love that he's eating almonds, too, of all things. Like
I know.
I do love almonds.
Well, almonds are good for you. Yeah, he's the only one eating healthy nuts. I'm not.
Yeah.
David, you're so illuminated.
Is that right? Yeah, I love it.
Perfect.
I have this kind of angelic glow behind me, which I like.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a glow too, but I put this hat on to cover it up. So.
Yeah. Oh, nice. All right. Let's move on.
Moving on, unless you guys got anything else, we can go to the lifeguard, because it was the next thing on her list to do, I guess. Ashley, who's 26.
Oh, I can't wait.
Go ahead.
I like Ashley. Go ahead.
I have to start with the quote from somebody else. And not that I feel this way. This is just someone else's thing they noticed. They said that she had the resting bitch face.
Yes, I remember that.
Which I thought is potentially going to be problematic for her in the game, because that's not the only person who said that about her. A lot of the females seem to be a little bit down on her. That, like, Chrissy, I don't think she likes me. One of the other, Simone, was talking about how she's going to have an issue. She smiles at the boys, but not at the girls. There seem to be a lot of, like, she's an unpleasant individual based on how she presents herself with her, not smiling and things like that. So I thought that's going to be a difficult hurdle potentially for her to get over, because when she was actually, she sounded very pleasant, and she sounded like she was a really nice individual, but she's going to have to get past that initial on her.
Yeah. How do you think she'll bode with a tribe where the other females are the older ladies? I
actually think that's going to work out good for her.
Okay.
Yeah, and I, she did say that she'll be screaming at her tribe mates because she's competitive, so obviously that's an issue. But if she can keep that under control, then she should be fine. Obviously, you would want her in any swim challenge. And she also seems very adaptable because, she quit her desk job and became a lifeguard.
Yeah.
So I could see it going either way, for her.
I got the same thing with the first impression, but the hard thing is for these interviews is some of them are during lockdown and some of them were during the first day. And I think she came back and said that, well, we weren't supposed to talk. I can't do this or that. But at the same time, Patrick's out there smiling at everybody, including the trees. And then you've got Ashley here who's like frowning at everybody. Like you said, and Chrissy said, somebody on her own tribe said she's very angry. She never smiles. And it was Rourke that said the resting face line. And you're right. You got to make an impression, but I agree that I think she could actually fit in better with these three guys, and that would actually put her in a good spot.
Yeah.
Of 4-2.
Yeah.
And we can finish that out when we get to the other people, but at the same time, if there's a swap and the numbers even out and she doesn't blend in with the women, there could be a problem there as well. She's definitely an alpha female. She deals with the elements well. Her truth and lie were all outdoor adventurous things.
Yeah.
She's very much outdoors. So it's going to be interesting to see if she can adapt to the game like Alan was talking about. If she just plays one way, she talked about people under, the coattail riders aren't going to make it. So, but there could be a day when you need to be a coattail rider and not be an alpha, and you need to be able to adapt to that moment, especially if you get swapped into a bad situation. But if she's going to try and play strong and not like complainers and people that just sound annoying all the time, she could be in trouble depending on where she lands.
Yeah,
that is true.
Obviously, she's going to be good at water challenges, and if you have a Cerie moment, she'll be out there to save her life. You know,
I can't knock anybody's swimming ability.
Oh, come on, David.
I do think it's interesting too that Wright's going out on the show, which I can completely relate to, is that people were telling her both be yourself and do not be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's probably she's going to have a very like an inner struggle while she's out there. If she has to control certain aspects of her personality, and that other people have recognized that about her before she even goes out into the game,
mm-hmm.
and have told her that. And that's something that I related to while I was out there, is that there's certain parts of you might want to hold back and rein in, but you have to be very cognizant of it. And doing that could potentially affect you and make you look unapproachable and make you look unfriendly because
right.
you're thinking so much about how you're presenting yourself. So maybe that's why she's running into that. I don't know, but I thought that was an interesting piece of advice that she was provided. It's very telling.
Yeah, and not a lot of people can live the not who I really am after 10, 15 days. You know,
right.
It starts to wear on you and wear on you and wear on you unless you're really able to let it all out in those confessionals, you know. But at least
they're great for that, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask y'all, if you are one of those people that is struggling with controlling the urges to get mad at somebody because they're complaining and you don't like complainers, is it really helpful to go to those confessionals?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think, Jessica, but yeah, I love the confessionals because you could like let your guard down and be yourself. Usually I would just cry.
I was going to mention that, but you know.
Can I just have a moment, please?
Yeah.
Don't ask me a question.
Yeah. No, I definitely like blew snot into a bunch of palm fronds during my confessionals. But yeah, it's a release, and then you get back, and you put your game face back on. But what about you, Jessica? What did you think?
No, it was the same way because there's certain things that you don't want to say to people when it happens, but you're waiting for the moment to actually get to talk to someone who's not going to spill the beans and tell someone else. I can give you a perfect example too. When we were out on the island and lobbyists and lawyers kill them all. And I was like, I was dying because he had no idea I was a lawyer, and all I wanted to do was go and have a confessional so I could like talk about it, because it was one of those moments where I knew I'd made the right choice by not telling people what I did. Yeah. Because that's the type of preconceived notion someone might have.
Right.
So yeah, those moments, you need those moments while you're out there so you can just let it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're the best. Absolutely.
Yeah. By the way,
go ahead.
Well, going back to Alan really quickly, Aaron in our chat room said, I'm surprised you talked about him as long as you did, to be honest. So there you go. And Eve, okay, go ahead. Back to Ashley.
About I got one more question about Ashley, and it's for your Wright and Jessica. One thing Josh did during each interview was he showed the cast member all the pictures of the other castmates and what sounds like neutral clothing. They had no idea how they were divided, what the twist or theme was, but he showed them all headshots and was just getting first impressions. And he mentioned that several of Ashley's tribe mates, after seeing her in lockdown, would have been fine with her being the first boot. That was a comment he got from several. Yeah. How much does that stick in your mind when the game starts, that you were thinking that Paul, should be the first boot getting into your season, or Sunday should be the first boot getting into yours? How much will that stick in your head once the game actually starts and you might meet this person?
Go ahead, Jessica.
I think that's the part of the game that doesn't get enough attention, is how important the pregame is. At least 3 days, 4 days, maybe even 5 days, just watching people.
Right.
And whatever determination you have made about that person then has to overcome, because you've already made up your mind. And once the game starts, you have very limited time. I mean, you think that another 3 days with this person is going to give you a chance to really learn who they are, and it really doesn't, because everything's moving so quickly. You have a challenge, you've got, you're building a shelter, you're doing so many things that pregame can make or break you. And that's why I'm a little bit nervous for Ashley, because saw her as an unpleasant person who is not friendly and not someone that they necessarily want to get to know, to overcome a hurdle that might not even have been a hurdle, because she sounds like she's got all of the things that she needs to be a great tribe mate and be really great in challenges and do well. 3 days when people were just watching her, and it's really significant. It's extremely significant.
But I'm sorry, it really is. I remember our pregame. We were at Ponderosa, and I walked into the bathroom, and I saw this guy. I'm like, that guy is first boot, and it was my reflection in the mirror, but I still thought.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, it's important.
So
oh my word.
So let's look at this. Ashley is on a tribe though with two of the older women who aren't, catty like the younger girls are, right? So the younger girls are more catty, and these two older ladies are not. They're younger than me, but still. So I think her main problem, because of these preconceived notions from the pre-game, will come at the swap. If she gets put into a group with some of these girls that think she's catty and they've already bonded, then she's definitely in trouble.
Well, but she also has to be ready for Chrissy, because Chrissy's the one that got the read that she doesn't like her. Okay. And Chrissy's on her tribe. So she is going to have to at least overcome that as well.
Yeah, okay.
That's something else, but I do think that the older women will probably be more willing to get to know her and not rely so much on that preconceived notion.
Yeah,
I think it is going to help her because she's with those two women on her tribe.
Yeah. Well, before we move on, I gave her 4 out of 5. So there you go.
Can I get more light? I'll be right back. I'm going to grab more light.
Gosh,
gonna grab light. What kind of power does he have?
Somebody go get him a light bar. All right, David.
I love him.
I know, he's great.
That's so funny. I looked in the mirror and I told
is this like a chip break now? Like I could take a little chip break?
Yeah, sure.
All right, have a chip break.
David's over there going, guys, do we have hidden immunity idols in this show? Should I go look for a hidden immunity idol? Hey, that's where he's going.
Doing.
Yes, every time he gets up,
what he's doing.
He's going to look for a hidden immunity idol. Here, Jessica, ask him if he found it.
I think so. That kind of works.
David, did you find the hidden immunity idol?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. Well done.
All right, Jones, let's move on to Ben.
I knew it.
Actually, we're going to skip Ben just for a second because we talked about Chrissy, and I want to relate Chrissy to what we talked about with Ashley in the sense that I shouldn't have had that chip. Why did I eat that chip? One time we tried to eat donuts.
How ever say that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have eaten that chip.
Can't just eat one.
Well, I like Chrissy personally.
There you go.
I like Chrissy too, and I had this image in my mind of a chip trying to go down my throat. But she's very conscious about being the oldest female out there. She's watched a lot of Survivor. She is uber smart. I think I really am excited about watching Chrissy play Survivor. This is what I'm excited about. And she's, like I said, she's uber smart. This comes from a producer. She's easy to talk to. That's super important. And she's very smart. She's charming. She'll be able to get along with everybody. And like you said, she said that Ashley looks very angry, looks mean, although she's probably a lovable person, a very nice person. She always finished with that when she talked about somebody. And she will probably get to know Ashley and probably get to like Ashley. She may even catch on that Ashley's probably going to bond with the men. And I think with her lie of trying to be 39, which I think she could pass for, and I think she's going to make a point. This is just my guess. She's going to make a point to point out that Katrina is the oldest female on the tribe, and she'll be the first boot if they lose. I think she's that conscious of the game. She's so aware of herself and the game itself that I think her mind's going to be flying all the time. It's not going to be Vlacho's crazy, but she's going to be thinking all the time and saying, I just need to put one person ahead of me as a target. And I think she's that smart to do that. I think with the lie about her age, I really see her hugging Katrina, and then while she's hugging her, looking at everybody else and saying, she's the oldest here. She's going to be our, she's the one that should probably go next. And if she sees Ashley go with the men, she'll follow right behind Ashley.
Yeah.
And
I don't feel like age is necessarily an issue because I think I realize there hasn't been as many older survivors that have won the game, but I do think that there's been enough older survivors that have done the game, and it's all dependent upon how you play the game, I think. I mean, I don't think that age would be the deciding factor as to who should necessarily go home first. I mean, if someone is not doing well, then a factor that you would consider, but I don't think it should be the be-all and end-all because I don't think Chrissy's going to do bad the challenges, and I don't think she's going to be performing horribly in the social game. So I think that her focus on her age might be unnecessary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and if you look at this tribe, they don't have anybody that's weak.
Right.
The only way you're going to get kicked out because of a challenge is if you just totally blew the challenge, some stupid mistake. I mean, there's nobody on there that's, going to be someone that you don't want doing something in your challenge.
Yeah, if it starts with a swimming challenge, unless one of the guys drowns, it's not going to be Katrina or Ashley. That's the weak player.
Yeah, it's not. And I don't see Chrissy being weak either. Mm-hmm. What I see about Chrissy is she's incredibly smart. She looks ahead. She figures out how this is going to impact her in the future, impact other people. She certainly has a brain for the game. She has a smile that I think is a testament to perhaps her social game, and I think she's going to be strong. So she got 5 stars from me, and I think she's going to have a possibility of going far in the game.
Before y'all answer, let me read the line that Dwayne was just referring to because I like to write down good lines. She is a successful professional at calculating the present value of future risk. What we do, what do we think is going to happen in the future? What is the probability of that happening? And we use that to figure out our best current decision. Good.
You want to know what I thought of when I read that?
Yeah.
I read that and I thought of that. She'd be sitting there calculating. Like in that moment.
I thought she's really smart, like you said, thinking ahead. That's very important. There's one aspect of her though that reminds me of me, in that it seems like she's already got her foot on the gas pedal. And I ran into some trouble with that. And because the pace of the game moves differently than the pace of the show, and it's something that I just hadn't considered beforehand. But as long as she can keep that in check, it shouldn't be an issue. But the potential for it is there.
David, based on what you just said, the pace of the game is a lot slower than the pace of the show. Is that why at the beginning you were just thinking, okay, I've got to go look, I've got to go see if they're looking, because in your mind it was like just as fast as the show?
Absolutely. I was just thinking of the show, and that was just sort of in my head. And I remember within like 15 minutes, I grabbed on the ground what I thought was an idol, and I ran off, and Ken followed me, and it wasn't an idol. It was just some nails. And that's when I just shouted at him that I trusted him, and like 3 times. I just lost my mind that first day. And I think that there's the potential for Chrissy to do that if she's not careful.
All right.
That's a good point. Her 2 truths and lies were all completely different from each other. They were not related to each other. I thought that was very creative. I like how she divides people in good and evils. She's already grading people and what she thinks they could be. But I also think she's not set enough that she would not change somebody from being good to evil if she finds that they are. But the thing that kept sticking out was that she's worried about being the oldest. And I think, like David said, if she concentrates on that too much, and like Jessica said, it may not be the factor that gets her in trouble, or it just may not be worth locking in on when there's so many other facets to this game that can go on.
Yeah. Would y'all have anything else?
If I were doing stars, she would have 4 to 5 stars to me.
Yeah. Do what, Jessica?
I don't know how much of an effect. I don't know how much of an effect this would have her gameplay necessarily, but she did say that she was going to, as opposed to being an actuary, she wanted to kind of downplay how smart she was. So she was going to be like, I don't know, she sold insurance or something, which might work out fine. But once the theme is revealed, the time people might have holding back part of themselves when they realize they're considered a hero because of attributes that they have and because of the career they might have and the things that they bring to their job. End up hitting a wall with that. I don't know, because I don't know how much insurance can carry over to being a hero, but maybe it can. She'll be able to sell it. But I just thought that might be an interesting hurdle for her as well.
That'll be a good test.
Because Wayne's looking at it like an insane.
No, I'm looking at because I only heard about half of it, so it's not your fault.
Oh, did I completely cut out? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah,
but that's a really good point. As once the theme is announced, some of these folks are going to have to adjust a little bit as to what they're saying. She could go on to say, well, they said because I'm a mom and I went back to school that I'm a hero to my kids. But you're right. They're going to have some of these people are going to have to come up on the fly and realize that they may get questioned about what they do and why they do. And the neat thing is her lie about her job, downplaying it, is actually a truth. Because she does, I think she said insurance adjusting or something like that.
Yeah.
And she actually does that. So she does have experience. If I was the idiot that said, I do it too, where do you do it at? She could actually reel it right off and say how she does it.
Yeah.
So it might not have any effect at all. I don't know.
That's a good question, though. Look around and say, why are these people heroes?
Yeah,
and Joe, I know I'm a hero.
And Joe's going to look at himself and go, why am I a healer?
Speaking of the theme, I wanted to say this earlier. When I first heard the theme, I thought Hustler was someone that scammed you and got away with stuff, because I thought I went ahead and wrote it in my head. A hero is great. You need to be a hero sometimes in Survivor. You need to help win the challenge. You need to help provide for people, and you need to be a healer. You need to be able to talk to people and help them get through these lonely times, get them through the scare times, make them feel like they're not in trouble. And at the same time, you need to be a hustler and get people to vote for you when they don't want to, or even at the end of the game, get them to have your back. And then no, that's not what hustler means.
Yeah.
Hustler means somebody that gets the job done.
I think in a 3-tribe format, it would be difficult to have like 2 positive tribes and then 1 negative tribe. It works with heroes and villains because it's split in half. But it just seems too weighted to, positive traits the other way.
In other words, come on, David, that was stupid.
No. That is not what I was saying.
No, you're right. You're right.
Not at all. Not at all. I trust you.
I trust you.
That means I can vote you out eventually.
I trust you.
Yes, that's
He'll
right.
have an idol. Be careful. He'll have an idol.
Right.
Hey, so we have about 30 seconds. Let's talk about Ben.
So Ben is the one person that Josh completely forgot to play the 2 truths and 1 lie game with. Mm-hmm. And I tweeted him and I said, did we miss it? Did I miss an explanation? He said, no, I just absolutely forgot. It was a long couple days, yada, yada, type thing. And that's completely understandable he was still pumped to his last interview. But my thought was, did Ben reveal so much about himself in the first 30 seconds that he didn't need to play the 2 truths and a lie game? Because he had such a big personality and was willing to share so much. And on a side note, he was also very well trained to repeat the question before he gave the answer. I thought that was good too. Are you guys trained on that when you do your confessionals to repeat the question?
It's not necessarily repeat the question, but they don't want to make it sound like you have to
make it a
set up what the question is in your answer.
Yes.
That you're talking about, which they don't really tell you that until the game starts.
Right. Yeah. So you give an answer and they go, can you use that in a sentence? You're like, what is this, a spelling bee? What's going on?
Yeah. My thing about Ben is, he's a Marine, so obviously he's a team player. And I think he's got like a really good head on his shoulders. And he was in Iraq in 2003, so I think he's seen stuff that's infinitely harder than what he's facing in Survivor. So I think he's got a good chance.
I think Ben has got a really good chance as well. He does have a great backstory. Huh. And the thing that I really love about him is that life together. Like, he's not doing Survivor because he's necessarily trying to figure anything out about himself. He's got his life figured out. He's got his family. He has his career. He has his all of that stuff is kind of done. And I respect he is in his life, and then he's playing this game. So I think that that's going to be beneficial to him too.
He's going to have some great. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The teddy bear, grizzly bear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Analogy that he used for himself. So he is going to have to keep that grizzly bear in check, because that could potentially be a problem for him. But I think he's got a great shot. I really do.
He's certainly going to be fun around camp if they're interested in hearing stories about stuff. I feel like he's had a lot of interesting things he could tell around the campfire, just because of his team in Iraq and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's good. I mean, now that you bring that up, like those stories are so important. Jessica, I'm sure you remember, like every night we would all like each person would go around and tell a story. And like, that's how you bonded and learned who each of us was. And it was like so important. And it never really makes the air because it doesn't really impact the game in an obvious way or in a direct way. But certainly it is how you form relationships. So that's huge.
I think Alan gave him a really nice compliment when he compared him to the voice. When your back is to the person trying out and you hear this voice and you're like, wow, that's a great voice. And you turn around and they are not at all what you expected them to be. And what I got from Alan was, if you look at Ben, you see the tattoos, you see the boots, you see the rough look. But once he starts talking, he's got this alluring personality that you just want to keep listening to, that you just want to talk to and engage in. And I agree that he's got a lot of things going for him. The only thing I did not get out of him that I did get out of somebody like Chrissy was playing the solo game. I want to know how he's going to finish the game and how he's going to get to the end by himself and win at the end. And I know Josh can't pull this out of every person in every interview, but he is a team player. He talks about noticing strong players, but he's so likable, funny. He's a storyteller, but he's out there to win. And that could change a person. He could do a lot of things with that. I just wonder how he's going to be when it's on him. Just like with Alan, how's he going to be at the end to play the game by himself and win it?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, I only gave him 2 stars, so I guess I'm kind of in the
Wayne.
Why only 2 stars?
I don't remember.
Because of next day. I don't remember. I'm sorry. How long have we known we were doing this podcast since the end of last season?
Shut up, David. I don't remember. It must have been. It must have been his video on CBS. Wait, no, let's see. Heroes. Yeah, it must have been his video on CBS. Something he said on there or something. I don't remember what it was. Which
so is sit around the campfire at night, you don't see anything. You just hear those great stories. Go ahead, Jessica.
David Jones. What I was just thinking, the difference between Alan and Ben might be when it comes to that end game. Mm-hmm. Alan is a team player because that's what he does. He plays on a team. So it's like Alan needs those other people in order to make his moves matter, because otherwise it wouldn't be anything. He's a football player. Whereas Ben, he's a Marine, where you have to work together. But I think when you're being trained as a Marine, you have to have a really strong sense of self, and you have to know how to take care of yourself in order to get through all of the training and all of the horrible moments that they put you through. And so I feel like he's going to be strong on his own because that's something he's trained for. Maybe I'm getting a different read, but I think that might be the difference between Ben and Alan. That's
a good point, because he also talked about dealing with whatever's in front of him. He seems like the type of person that could just push it off and keep plowing through. Alan has been in a uniform and he's been on a nice turf field, and not to put down anything he's done, but Ben is not. Ben has been where you don't want to be, and he still fought through. He still loves his wife, and he's going to do whatever it takes to take care of his family. He's working a job right now he doesn't really care for, but he's doing it because it puts food on the table and a roof over their heads, and that's a force in itself to play Survivor. And we got another one of those down the road, but that's a driving force. But that's a good point, that as a Marine, you are trained to take care of yourself. If you get separated on a football field, the clock ends and you walk off the field. But as a Marine, you really got to be on your own and be strong about it. That's a good point.
Yeah. The battle doesn't end at the bell.
Yeah.
Out in the field.
That's right.
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out.
Whenever y'all are ready to move on to JP, I would like to begin.
I just thought we'd skip altogether. But let's move to Dwayne's favorite. And since he used the JP scale to grade all of his people.
I didn't tell y'all that.
I'll let Dwayne go first for JP.
I didn't think I told y'all who I used.
The JP.
Did I tell you?
I guess.
I just want to know who the one is. I want to know who the one is.
It's JP. All right. So here's what happens. You know how David said he looked at Ben and then it was completely different when he heard him talk and everything? That's what happened with JP. So I wrote, when I first saw his video, I liked him as soon as I heard him talk. He's fireman, he's humble, good moral character, laid back, be yourself, etc. And then I heard him with Wiggler. Wow. It was just like he didn't know anything. He was totally out of his element. I don't think he even knew what Wiggler was saying half the time. So I didn't much care for JP.
Let me quote Wiggler. Wiggler said he felt no closer to knowing JP even after talking to him face to face.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, my word.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, he's a fireman. Obviously, that's why he's a hero. He likes to help people. And, yeah, he says he has a strong moral center. From my perspective, it seems like he's making like a far bigger difference in the world than I am. I feel like I'm just like sucking up oxygen. But he seems humble and caring. And if we do take him at his word that he's moral, so long as he doesn't like that get in the way of making necessary game moves, I think he should be fine.
Well, but what if he just has no concept of the game?
And, you can learn, on the job. So we'll see, I guess, with him. It remains to be seen.
I mean, he's safe for a while,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree that he's safe for a while. But if we had taken a percentage about what he talked about in that interview, I think 60% is his dog and his bros.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what he kept talking about. And he said playing in the game is going to be really cool. He's super outdoorsy. He's looking forward to making fire, catching fish. Exciting. It's just super exciting to do that. And I'm like, but there's a game.
Yeah,
you've got to vote people off. It's not Naked and Afraid. It's Survivor. You're going to have to take people out. And he says he just wants to stay focused. And the last thing I wrote is he's just in over his head. I think he could get carried to a point. He's going to be safe for a while because he does seem like a nice moral person. But I think if he makes it to the merge, he's going to be the first or second boot.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say something.
Thing that you just said about being carried along. If he's someone that doesn't see as he's not strategic and his head is not in the game like hers, she might be more than willing to take him under her wing. Is going to be a threat.
Okay, who did you say
making moves and doing anything?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that. Who did you say might take him under his wing? Chrissy?
She sees him as he's not a threat.
Okay.
So if she's someone who's very strategic, who's looking at the game like, how can I make it further? If JP is someone who she doesn't think is a strategic individual and isn't going to undercut her game, she might be more than willing to say, come on, JP, and kind of show him the ropes and get him where she needs to be by utilizing him as a number, because he's going to be strong in the challenges. Yeah. He's probably going to perform very well in that aspect. So that might be beneficial for someone like Chrissy, who's got her head in the game and looking at it from a strategic standpoint.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of like two together make a perfect player, and she can use him, and he wouldn't even know he was being used.
It's just by the time he gets to the end of the rope, it's not tied to anything, so it's just
oh well. I don't have.
So how many stars did you give him, Dwayne?
1. He was my 1.
He was the one.
And it was all the Wigglers. Okay, see, here's the thing. Bio, correct me if I'm wrong, previous Survivor and future Survivor players, the bio is what you wrote before you were ever even on the show, correct? Yeah.
Really, Jess?
Well, somebody speak, because
Well, no, I'm shocked.
Thousands of people.
I wrote mine. I assumed everybody wrote theirs.
No, I mean I wrote mine, but it's one of those things. You write it when it's part of your application.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Right, but you are allowed to change it if you want. Once you know, like this is going to be your bio, you can make changes if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody in the chat room, I think Aaron said that. Chrissy used to have, she was like Jenna Marasco in that she would strip for peanut butter, but it got changed. So maybe she changed it. Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to present her in that way either.
Right. Okay, so here's my point. That is something that was written by them for CBS to try to get him on the show, right? They're trying to get on the show. And then secondly, the videos that we see on CBS are all edited to help tell the story eventually that they're going to tell with this whole season. We know that the whole show is edited to tell the story. So, but the interview with Wiggler is it Wiggle or Wiggle? Yeah, Wiggler. Is the most telling. And he blew that interview. It was bad. And so everything else to me isn't as important as the interview that we heard on that podcast. So,
interesting.
Anyway, back to...
But, yeah, he's... and slightly to his defense, Wiggler didn't get to finish his directions, but he's the one that said what his lines were before he lied and told the truth. He said, "Truth, I'm 28," and he said, "No, don't tell me what it is. Just tell me, two truths and a lie, and I'll figure out." He says, "Okay, well, I'm 28," even though he just said that he was 28 and that it was a truth. But anyway, all joking aside, I did actually listen to what Probst said about JP because I wanted to know what Probst thought of JP. And this was the only person Probst stalled on before he described him, as if he had to stop and think. And he went right into talking about why JP will be a target and will probably be voted out because he's just likable. He's a very nice guy and easy to talk to. And he said he's someone comfortable in his own world, and there's 17 other people out there who just won't care about that. So,
interesting.
Yeah,
All
it was
right.
interesting because Probst hesitated even to get to a description. I just thought it was kind of funny. So, unless y'all got anything else, we can get to the last member of the Hero
Our last
tribe.
one.
Big swimmer, Katrina, who is also 46, just like Chrissy, even though Chrissy's going to lie. So,
Yeah. She has a beautiful laugh.
Yeah,
Beautiful mouth? Is that what you said?
no laugh.
I said, what did you think I said? What?
Beautiful mouth.
A beautiful mouth?
I thought he said mouth.
Wow.
Like, well, now.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I'm
No.
a mouth man.
Yeah, she's obviously very physical. Swim challenges will not be an issue.
No.
I do worry about her mentioning wanting some alone time. The others getting on her nerves could be an issue for her, especially if she isn't able to hide that. But assuming she has any kind of self-awareness, then maybe that won't be an issue. But that's my only concern about her.
And honestly, and if she happens to find out about our show somehow in the midst of all the other ones, I'm sorry, Katrina, but your laugh is going to get on people's nerves.
I thought you liked her mouth.
Yeah, well, that's another podcast. But I mean, did you hear the laugh on the CBS video? It was at the end or something.
No.
Well, if you didn't hear it, then you don't. It's just one of those really loud, short, like type of laugh, And I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it, but I have a feeling if she's loud and really the one that's out there, and she's doing that a lot, that will get, annoying.
She's also very forceful in her answers. It's almost like she can't contain herself because she's so excited.
Yeah.
She was the way that she spoke was just, she couldn't get it out fast enough. And I hope she can kind of rein that in, because that might be something too that people might not really care for.
Right.
And it might get on people's nerves because she's just really very anxious to talk and to explain. Like when she was giving her answer about why she's going to win, it just kept going and going and going. It's because she couldn't say enough about why she was going to win. So I thought that was something she might have to be conscious of as well.
Yeah, this was one of those that didn't have much content about the game. That was about the only time he got the game stuff out of her. I wrote, she talks really fast and she's exuberant. And Wiggler even said he wonders how her personality would wear on people who are suffering day after day with no food and no sleep.
Well, see,
Didn't
that's what I
Alan
was saying.
say that she was crazy or something? Alan said something about her.
I mean, if you get cast in a reality show, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe called her a villain. He looked at her smile and called her the Joker and said she was probably going to be the villain. But she talks about being healed. She's had a lot of physical issues. Even Probst, though, called her a nutty blonde chick. And And she's also not the most comfortable with lying, being blunt and truthful. But she'll have to keep her mouth shut about that. I don't know. This, to me, it was the total opposite interview of Chrissy. And I compared them because they're the same age. And I really think Chrissy's going to turn the target on her as being the older mom. If we have to vote somebody out early, like she could be the first one.
See, this is where I would have trouble if I was on Survivor, having to tell a lie on the spot. You know, number one, I'm not very quick on my feet anyway, as far as, verbal stuff. But and I don't remember if it was last season or the season before where someone got totally caught because they got asked a question that they were not prepared for and they couldn't lie or they couldn't think of it and they just kind of stood there and it became obvious that they were going to try to cover it. And I think
you're thinking of Co-Wrong, I think.
Maybe so. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Or are you thinking about Carter telling Jeff Kent that we were going to vote for him, so you need to vote for yourself as well? Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant that.
No, this was one where someone was actually asked a question and it caught them totally off guard and they weren't quick enough to come up with something. And I have a feeling, like we said in the 2 truths and a lie game, you have to be prepared to know what you're going to say ahead of time. And I just don't see her doing that. I think she's going to have a problem.
That's a good point. She told 3 truths.
Yes, she did.
Bring up a lie. Good point.
I'm a woman, I can swim, and I'm tall.
And I have no butt.
Yeah, so. I don't know what her 3 truths were, but
yeah.
Anyway, so I gave her 2 stars.
All right, I got to ask you a question though, because David, you mentioned this. And I saw it in my notes. What did she specify? What illness she had, or what she's?
She did, but I didn't write them all down. I just don't think we're going to be talking about her very long. But unfortunately.
What I think's interesting, though, is that Simone actually said she thinks she's like a cancer survivor,
yes.
and that's something that Simone picked up on, which I thought was weird. Like that would be something that you would and then say that's going to be she's going to be one of those people that talks about being a survivor, which is interesting because that's what she did.
Yeah, true.
I hate that I don't have that, but I didn't write that. I think I would have written down cancer, but I just remember her having a lot of different ailments in different parts of her I don't know if it was from so much swimming or from what it was, but she talked about after playing for 39 days, she feels like she's going to be completely healed. But I don't think it was cancer. So I remember Simone saying that because she was the last one I listened to. Mm. But the last thing I wrote was Katrina barely talked about the game and how she'll play. And I don't know. Maybe she's starting slow. She's doing the opposite.
Yeah.
It could also be, that's just how they edited it. That she could have been asked that, and we just didn't see those answers. But
right. She's going to go over to the healers tribe and say, "Touch me." That's why I'm going to be healed on the island.
Exactly.
So anyway.
So it's some final
Cole, touch me. Cole, touch me.
About this tribe. Moving on.
To Cole.
No, Cole's on the next tribe.
I know.
I said some final quotes from Wiggler. He said, Alan stands in a pretty good favor. People said it seems like the sweetest human, high-fiving everyone. Ashley, not so much. She comes off as cold. Ben is friendly, sincere. Said he's kind of clumsy. JP is a young college kid, recently graduated. Seems nice. Probably a frat bro. Didn't react to Jeff Probst coming in on the helo like everybody else did. And that stood out to somebody. So somebody's watching everybody else versus watching Probst come in on the helicopter.
I remember that moment. Do you remember that moment, Jessica?
Oh, my word. I was dying in that moment. Absolutely dying.
That was awesome. Yeah. It really was.
Tighten those sphincter muscles.
Apparently it wasn't to JP.
Oh, my word. I had a hard time not looking at Jeff when he was around or when he would show up, because you're kind of in awe. I mean, not only are you here, you're going to play the game and it's amazing, then here comes Jeff Probst and you're just fascinated. And I had to tell myself, stop oogling him and just try to act a little cool, but it was not happening. That was not happening.
No, same. I had a man crush on Jeff Probst. If I had 1% of his confidence, I'd be so much better off.
Yeah.
And this is why Jeff can get as much money as he wants on Survivor.
He's amazing.
He is. He really
amazing.
is. Yeah. And the thing about him too, at Tribal, there's nothing in his ear. He's just coming up with it right there. He's in the moment. And it's seemingly effortless, but he's so good at his job. And actually, it's a shame he didn't get nominated this year, but he deserves an Emmy for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So it ends with Chrissy being called sweet. She was wearing a mom necklace. So
whatever that is.
Somebody said she could be a mother type, and they also said, which could be scary. And finally, they said about Katrina, friendly, fun to be around, made a gesture at me. So it might be like David said, she said more about the game. We just didn't hear it at the interview. But Joe called her the Joker. Look at that smile. She could be the villain. So it's really neat that I like hearing all these impressions that people are getting the first time around.
They matter. They really matter.
Moving over to Joe's tribe, SoCo the Healers. I wrote down a lot of the comments that were made before he even got to anybody, but we can go to Cole. I think Dwayne wants to get to Cole.
No, he was the next one.
So
that you know.
Do you have toe muscles? I don't have toe muscles.
I don't know. I don't think my toes have muscles in them. I can't wait to see that. I can't even imagine.
He also has an 8-pack. He doesn't have a 6-pack. He has an 8-pack.
1, 2, 3. He sure does. Wow. And if you count the 2 on top, he's got 10. Forget it. Just nothing. This guy's ripped. And he's outside. He is an outside guy. He's got a smile on him that's going to everybody's going to love this guy. And he's going to go far. I really do think so. Let's see, what was I going to say? JP had a very, very astute comment. He said, kids are going to like him. As if that has anything to do with the game.
No, that's Probst. Probst said that about him.
No, Probst said that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I wrote down that was Probst.
Well, you put JP, so.
Jeff Probst, yes.
All right. Well, go ahead then. Since I totally blew
his
that.
truth and lies were mainly about outdoor things, but he explained each one. When Wiggler was asking him about each one, he actually had a story behind each line, and 2 were truths and 1 was a lie. That was good to me. I like that he was able to elaborate, and he didn't seem to have any vocal tells where he raised his voice or seemed shady. He seemed very comfortable, and the funny part was Wiggler goes, you know what? All 3 of those are cool, and that sounds like something you would do. So he couldn't figure out which one was the lie. But his job of working with kids out in the wilderness is going to pull it at some heartstrings. They're going to see how real this guy is. And I think he's going to be very sociable. I don't know if anybody had anything negative to say. The only thing I didn't like that he said was about a showmance. I know it's not best for the game, but if it happens.
I didn't like that either.
Oh my gosh, really? Come on. No, I'm not saying it to you. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, he was actually, in his mind, he'd be happy if that's what he came away from with the show, as opposed to if I don't win and but if I meet someone that changes my life, which is great and all, but why do you have to do it while you're on Survivor? Like, you can talk to that person when the show's done. Like, that to me. I feel like your priorities might not be in the right place. Like, you have to be out there to win. And he said he was out there to push himself emotionally, physically, and to win $1 million. Yeah. So it's like, is not at the forefront. And that might be a problem for him, because if he's just that likable guy, really get the sense that he wants to win the game, I think that can affect him negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, he's basically, I think, Ken from our season. He's kind of living off the grid. He lives out of his car, but he sees like the value in other human beings, whether they see it in themselves or not, which would put him in a position to align with somebody like me, who maybe doesn't have a lot of confidence and is struggling with those kinds of issues. So that gives him an in to he doesn't look like he would be that guy, just as Ken didn't, but I think he is. And yeah, given his job, as you said, his social skills have to be off the charts. And if he can live out of his car, he can probably live on an island too.
One thing Wiggler pointed out was that he asked him, could you see yourself getting caught up in another person, as in what they're going through and what they're dealing with? And could that be the trap that gets you booted? And he kind of admitted, that's how he feels about other people. He gets invested in other people. It's funny that you mentioned that with you and Ken, because Mike is on this tribe. And there was a time when Wiggler was watching these guys work on day one, and Cole was cutting with Joe. And at one point, Cole walked away and met up with Mike, and they had a conversation. And as soon as you said that, it made me think, you know what? They did have that. Wiggler pointed out that Mike and Joe had this little conversation going on, which if it felt comfortable, then it probably wasn't their first conversation. But I like Mike so much that I wouldn't put it past him for him finding someone that makes him more adaptable to the outdoors or to being in that position. Because Cole is going to obviously walk around barefoot, and nothing's going to bother him. He's going to be pulling trees down, not even having to cut them, and he's going to build a shelter with 2 fingers instead of 5. And I could see Mike, like
with
you
his
said,
toes
gravitating right to Cole.
Oh, 100%.
That could be his JP. Yeah,
100%. I mean, if anybody is me in this game, I'm Mike. So I relate to that a lot.
Wow, you're a successful urologist? Awesome.
Well, not the urology part.
Oh,
but.
okay.
Yeah.
You know, why does it bother me? I don't know. Y'all tell me. But it always bothers me whenever people say this is the ultimate accomplishment for an outdoorsman. Well, especially when they say for an outdoorsman. Because this is not the ultimate accomplishment for an outdoorsman. You watch a show like Alone. That's the ultimate accomplishment for an outdoorsman. This is a great game, but it's not real Survivor. It's mental. It's outwit, outplay, outlast, you know? And for me, I don't think he has I don't know. For me, that's just kind of a thing to say, you know? Not really truth, but anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I agree. It's a thing to say to the producers of the show that you're on.
Right. I know,
Yeah,
but
I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you.
For me, it just doesn't ring true. So I gave him 4 out of 5, and partially because that kind of stuff bothers me. So it's really not a valid reason, but that's kind of why I did it.
Well, if they stop feeding people so much during reward challenges, it might be more of a survival.
Yeah. Let's go back to, if you went back to Africa where there's, lions and tigers at your camp, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
Where they have to camp, they have to walk 1.5 miles to get water, if they can even find water. Yeah, that's a little rough. Notice they don't do that anymore because it's a game show, which is a good thing.
Another thing that I like to find about these people is if they're self-aware. And I think we've already talked about this. I think Chrissy is very self-aware. I think Mike is very self-aware. I don't think Cole is, because he compared himself to Spencer. But I understood why, because he talked about he wasn't always as beautiful as he is now. He didn't say beautiful, but he meant the physical threat. He was more of a dorky nerd. He used to be small, still kind of awkward.
There's hope for you.
There's hope. But if he doesn't realize how he's coming across to like 100% of the people out there, then he's not going to use it or do it for the right reasons. And then he even said Survivor is not just about the money. If it means meeting someone incredible, this is like going to what Jessica said. If it means meeting someone incredible and not going to the end, he's okay with that. Oh, why do we play the game?
Yeah, that money. Oh my God. If you're going to play Survivor, in my mind, that's what you want. You want to be in the final. That's it. That's where you want to be. And that's the goal.
Yes. The goal is to win.
You should do everything that you can to try to win. And the decision you make should be, is this going to affect whether or not I can win?
Right.
David, right? I mean, that's how you play the game of Survivor. So that's why it frustrates me when his winning is the third thing that comes out of his mouth, as opposed to the first thing that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's like going to college to find a spouse.
Going to college to find a spouse?
Yeah. You go to Survivor to find yourself or to find a bride. Is like going to college to find a spouse or to find yourself. So,
your comment about people saying going for the ultimate test of survival, what bugs me is people saying, I'm going down here to see how far I can push myself.
Yeah.
They're going to push you right out in the water, because that's where the next tribal council is. If that's your idea, because it's not pushing yourself. It's getting 10 or 11 people to vote for you and give you $1 million.
Of course, I haven't played out there. So, and David and Jessica have, so I'm probably totally off, but
Do you want to?
Do I want to play? They wouldn't let me play. I'm 48 years old and overweight.
Oh, whatever. They'll let you play.
Yeah, okay.
I'm serious. No.
Well, they might. I've been told I need to apply, and I told somebody I would, and I still haven't done it, so I don't know.
You should. You should.
Yeah.
You should. You absolutely should.
Yeah. I'll say, hey, I'm a co-host on Survivor Talk with D&D, and they'll go, well, that's okay. We don't know that show, so it's all right.
No, I'm sure they know.
No, you'll hear the click before you hear the.
Yeah, really. All right, so let's get to Desiree or Desi.
Desi, the woman that shocked Probst when she wore a tank top on their second meeting. He didn't realize how ripped she was. Everybody is talking about how ripped she is and how people are calling. Alan says she's a bodybuilder. She seems subtle, but he knows she has more personality. Even DJP said she could knock me out. So,
I'm just. How cool would it be to have a physical therapist on the island? You know,
that'd be great.
If the physical therapist gets bored, then I have a back. You know, feel free to let out some of your tension on my back. You know, as long as it's not awkward, like yoga man. What? Who was that, David? Yoga guy.
Aris?
Yes. As long as it's not awkward like that. But seriously, I mean, have a physical therapist? Wow. That'd be awesome.
She also said she can be flirty and admits that could rub other people the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like she'll be pretty calculated about that, so that's good for her. She's very confident. I guess my issue or concern would be, you don't want to be too confident because that can get you into trouble too. But she's smart. She made a really good first impression on me.
Yeah.
I wonder if that confidence is going to make her gullible. Because she says she's done well at everything. She's good at everything she's competed at. She's done. She talks about scheming and plotting and convinces others what to do. She's a late fan of Survivor. She's been binge watching and listening to podcasts. But she also doesn't feel that she's a physical threat. And to me, that's not very self-aware if she sees how she looks compared to other people.
Well, yeah. I want to go back to what you said about.
I have to give her props. I got to give her props.
For what?
Go ahead, Dwayne.
No, because you please.
Oh, thanks. I was going to give her props because her podcast was Why Blank Lost. And she loves David Bloomberg. So, although we did say, meet your to David Bloomberg, and that upset me. It was, I did get a shout out on that one, but no, I do think that she is very impressive overall. She certainly has studied the game and she's physically fit, but I do wonder, is it going to affect her, because she does seem to be very successful in everything she does.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you are thrust into a situation like this, you might not be as good at it as you thought you might have been. And so I don't know, maybe that will affect her, but I got to give her a shout out for the Why Blank Lost.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, I think our podcast got mentioned a couple times. Maybe not. But
You're so self-deprecating, Dwayne.
Well, oh, really? Coming from you.
He is.
Self-aware.
Coming from you, David Wright. Yeah, I just call it self-aware. How about you?
Yeah, sure.
David, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I want to go back to David's point, and not to be contrary, David, but I just don't see her being gullible about anything. She just doesn't strike me as anybody who you're going to fool, or she's going to fool herself, or I don't know. I just don't see her being that way.
I got you. When I think of gullible and I think of her being successful at a lot of things, I think of her believing that she's in the position that she thinks she's in, even though she may not be. That's what I'm talking about gullible. She may fall for a blind side before somebody else might, like Chrissy or Mike.
You think she can be outplayed?
Yeah,
most assuredly. Okay,
and it could be a drawback because of her lack of time.
She would also be.
Oh, I wish we could hear Jessica better. We didn't hear what you said. She could also be.
I'm so sorry. I'm horrible.
No, you're not.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be interesting too. With so many people are already seeing her as a threat. They've mentioned her as someone that they see as a physical threat, as someone who everybody likes. You know, she walks in the room and people immediately like her. So that might work against her too, because if you're too likable, and if people think you're too much of a threat, that might get you as people are thinking maybe long term, she's going to win this game, so we've got to take her out early. That could work against her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mike called her the second biggest threat after Ben. And she's on his tribe, you know, but I guess maybe he's seen more of her. But yeah, he called Ben the biggest threat and he called her the second biggest threat.
Yeah. Well, I gave her 4 stars, even though people think she's a threat. I gave her 4 stars. And one of the things, and I realize this really isn't, part of my stars aren't just how well I think they'll do. Part of it's what kind of impression did they give me just as a person, you know, so it's not strictly how they'll do in the game. I love her inspiration in life. You know, some people give pretty blanket answers about this. But she wrote, my grandmother, a survivor of the Great Depression, the Civil Rights Movement, a divorce, and her second husband's fatal illness, she demonstrated unmatched resilience, resolve, and compassion. But above all, she played as hard as she worked and literally lived each day to the fullest. In honor of her legacy, I attempt to live my life without regrets. That is a young lady who has a grandmother that has instilled a lot of her attributes into her granddaughter, and I think that bodes very well for her. So
yeah, that's huge.
Oh, she's an amazing human being.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
she's awesome, and she comes from great people. I hope I hear about a viewing party that she has, because she is less than 30 minutes from me.
Dude,
in this
is that right?
Yeah, she's like in Hampton. She teaches in Hampton and lives. I think she's from Newport News, and that's like just across the tunnel from where I live.
Wow.
So,
where's David?
Awesome to meet her.
Please keep your eyes open.
Yeah, David will be sitting in the quad of whatever college she's at with binoculars, waiting for her to come out.
Yeah, she talks about the creepy guy in her DM that she almost didn't want to react to, but that's how she picked up.
Just the last thing I want to say about her, you know, I gave her 4 stars. She said the first thing would be chapstick, because there's nothing sexy or seductive about cracked lips. And then she said, arguably, this could be survival related, since it would hinder my abilities to seduce. So I have a feeling she's going to use her beauty to her advantage. Maybe.
I did. It works.
David, I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking anybody out there. Anyway, I'll just be quiet. David's like, what? You're looking at me? I'm yours.
Cole did say that he's looking for someone, so maybe it's going to be Desi.
Or she makes him think it is, and then, you know, after the show, it's over. That's happened before.
Not.
Right.
Yes, it has.
All right. Well, we got a 5-star coming up.
Ooh.
Yes, it's the young girl who. What does she do? Take like 5 majors at one time? That was mine.
Yeah, she has a doctorate, which means she's incredibly disciplined. This is Jessica Johnston. Incredibly disciplined. She loves fitness. She does talk a lot. She does cry often, which isn't going to bode well. She finds a lot of her strength in her relationship with the Lord. She wants everything to happen. I love this. I want the full experience. I want storms, hail, all kinds of stuff to happen. She may be wishing for the wrong things, but anyway, that's just a little bit of it.
Ask Jessica with the eye pain if you really want all that stuff.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you want an eye infection too?
Yeah. Well,
that's a pain in the ass.
Or the eye.
Now, I was once asked.
Good point.
I work with teenagers, and I was once asked, you know, Mr. Jones, what do you look for in a girl? Because these guys are at dating age, and I say one quality I like is somebody that can smile. If they can't smile, then I'm not going to be able to make them laugh. They're not going to bring joy to a relationship. They need to be able to at least smile once. And she said that she finds herself grinning all the time. And
she's a ball of energy.
Yeah, the producer said her enthusiasm is infectious and disarming.
Wow.
Well, she said I could win Miss Congeniality of Survivor if there was such a thing. You know?
Yep.
Well, this is interesting. She says she talks a lot and says things without thinking. So obviously that could get her into trouble. But you do need to talk to build bonds.
Right.
And so it could go either way.
Yeah. And she's on with, I mean, let's look at who she's on with. Boy, I don't know. Because what's her name? Rourke. Rourke. I don't know. She's kind of a wild card there. I'm just trying to think of how they're going to relate to each other. But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. Go ahead.
Well, and she's a nurse, and she was talking about how, as being a nurse, she gets to play a lot of head games. What kind of nurse is she?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If my nurse was playing head games with me, I'd be like, what is happening?
And if she's,
I thought that was interesting.
And if she's driven by failures, challenges, and goals, and she thinks, well, that'll help this person. You're about to die. You better get on the ball.
That's what I'm saying. What kind of nurse is she that she's messing with her patients?
It's like, where are you putting in my IV?
Is it a 50-50?
I was in a hospital bed one time, and this nurse came in and asked me what gives my life meaning and hope. I'm like, oh God, I don't know. Like, do I have to answer that to get through this?
Do I not get the IV?
Am I dying? What is this about?
Yeah.
And then she actually asked me if I had a living will. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Like 23 or 4.
Yes.
So,
hey,
oh my God,
hey, David,
that's terrible.
What if she had said, "And I need to know that before 6 o'clock"?
Right, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Do you have a living will? I need to know that as soon as possible.
Yeah. Just looking at the watch. Yeah.
And by the way, my name is Jessica Johnston.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe it was her.
Yeah, and don't worry about this.
I think that's quite fascinating. I'm very intrigued. I want to know.
Wow. Anyway, anything else, David?
Probst called her self-examining, which I think he liked about her. He said if she lasts long enough, people will see a vulnerable, authentic human and want to watch her play. Just because she likes being able to tell people what to do. She's also a gym rat, so she's in shape. And she thought she'd be in shape or be a physical threat, but she looks around and sees people like Cole and Desi and realizes she's not going to be the most threatening looking person out there.
This cast is full of ripped people.
Yeah, they are.
If I was on this cast, they would all look at me and go, just saying.
You'd be the one that somebody said, I can tell some people never have seen a gym.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if that was Desi or somebody.
Yes.
She said the hardest thing in her life was getting her doctorate and going through the nursing boards. She's more of a lay-in-the-grass girl than school books, but her and her parents, they do not quit. She talked about them about what to do, and they don't quit. She's a fighter. So if she can keep her personality up, her inner strength up, I think she could do well.
But what if there's not someone there to encourage her not to quit? Because she said after every single year she wanted to quit, and her parents encouraged her, and she didn't. What if she's out there and she has one of those moments that, according to players, y'all two can tell me if I'm wrong or not, almost all of them have those moments where, why am I out here? I could just go home right now or go to Ponderosa and go on a nice vacation. And what if she gets into that moment and there's no one there to encourage her? What will she do? So,
good point.
Yeah, I mean,
good question.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job these days, I think, though, of avoiding casting people that might be prone to quitting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not sure how big an
Especially
issue
after
that
that
is.
one season, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. What, they like two quit, like one right after another? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. David Jones.
Now, just thinking about one thing I wanted to bring up. Since we're on the second female of this group, the 3 tribes are very different in average ages. I don't know why they got stacked this way. It's really weird, but the hero's average age is 35, probably because of the 2 46-year-olds. The average age of this tribe, the healer's tribe, is 30. And the average age of the hustler tribe is 25.
Yeah.
25 years is the average age of that group. We'll get to them in a minute. But for some reason, I'm looking at this tribe photo of the healers, and I see 3 distinctly different men. looking at the heroes, I could see those men relating, but I see three distinctively different looking men, but I see three women that I could see bonding. And if any tribe is going to have bonding women, I think it's this tribe.
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't know how well Rourke's personality is going to mesh with Jessica. I think that the fact that she's in between them is probably rather telling. I mean, I'm sure they just stood there, but I feel like Desi is the type of person that would probably be a good balance between the two. She's very full of life, very energetic. She giggled a lot, and she was really, really excitable. Whereas Rourke was really kind of matter of fact and sounded extremely just well-spoken, well-presented. They seem like such opposite ends of the spectrum, even though they're both extremely intelligent. It's differently. And so I just wonder how they're going to mesh with each other.
So who do you think Rourke could mesh with? Because Desi and Jessica are both well-educated people.
Rourke is also extremely well-educated.
Well, that's three well-educated women.
Yeah. So, but Rourke just presents herself very different. I know we're going to talk about Rourke, so I'll get. But that's the dynamic I think might be rather interesting to just see how those two end up. Maybe it'll be just fine, but I don't know. Jessica's very, very lively, and I don't get that from Rourke.
All right, well, let's skip to Rourke then. She's the last on this list. I wrote down that she is the first graduate of the RHAP School of Survivor to play. She is so in as far as knowing things about Survivor, knowing about the community. Sounds like she listens to everything that comes out, and just she seemed kind of shy in this picture for some reason. She's like standing back and kind of peering around Desi, but she's so full of energy when she's talking. She's very much a conversationalist, and she's obviously a lifelong Survivor fan. And Probst called her complex, almost like a coin toss. She could be somebody that stays away from people, or she could be somebody that draws everyone to her. So what did y'all think of Rourke?
Yeah, she seems very intelligent. And she does field work at a high school as a therapist, and that'll help her in a tribe because she'll be able to connect with everyone as she does with those students. She also says she holds herself to really high standards, which I think will also help her. I think if there's any possible negative, and she seems to have some self-awareness about this, is that she says people sometimes get annoyed when she corrects them.
Yeah.
But again, the fact that she has any self-awareness about that, she might be able to dial that back.
See, I have an issue with that sometimes. She wrote, I feel like I'm doing them a favor. And I think I have pretty good control over it, but sometimes I feel like, they need to know that they said that wrong, or wrongly. Or incorrectly.
You just corrected yourself.
Yeah, if we're going to use an adverb correctly. So if she does that, that will be a bad thing. I don't think she's going to do that, though.
I don't think she will either.
No, I think that's just something that they made her say something that could possibly get her in trouble, and so she came up with something.
The more she talked, the more I liked her.
Yeah, me too.
Her two truths and lie were really good. What I really, really, really liked, and I'm all about strategy, is she said, you can't just tell somebody, look, trust me, I've got a good plan. It's going to work. I swear. She goes, you really have to slowly pivot them and develop that rapport to pivot them. It helps to build alliance. And Ryan talks about this later, but it helps to grow this relationship and not just count on walking up to somebody new and say, trust me, work with me, and we'll go. Because how does that work for you guys being out there?
Well, no, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to run up to a person on day one and just shout, I trust you, in their face. And then if they don't hear you, you grab them.
It works incredibly well.
Oh, it's amazing.
If they say, what's your name again? Then you know you got a problem.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh,
I think that she might struggle with the same thing that Ashley is struggling with, where people perceive Ashley as being unfriendly. Rourke is being associated with being shy, like she wants to be hidden, that she's not very confident in herself. But this girl exudes confidence when she talks. I mean, she knows what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But she seems to have held that back. So if she can let that out, of when she's meeting her tribe. I think that's going to go exceptionally well for her. But I did think that it was interesting. Probst basically said she lives on a different level. She's unusual. So
I noticed
I don't
that.
know how she's going to end up fitting into this group, because it is almost like she is aware of herself, but I don't know if she presents herself the way that she necessarily should when she's in a group.
See,
when she was talking to Wiggler, she did a great job.
Right.
Yeah.
My oldest son is like this. Sometimes they're so intelligent that people don't know how to take them, because they don't. Mm-hmm. They have their group that they work really well with, and then they have people that they annoy,
Yeah.
So I wonder if she has an advantage, though, and if she'll be able to handle this even better because she is a therapist. Do they have an advantage in the game?
Oh, I think for sure you do. I mean, it's a social game, and to be a therapist, I mean, that's what that job is.
Yeah, I mean, if she just sits around the campfire and listens to all the stories, how much she's going to learn about these people. And then she can manipulate that. So I ended up giving her 5 stars, and partly because of that. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I think her conversation with Wiggler shows the strength of her one-on-one abilities. She just opened up so much, and it wasn't just because she knew who he was, but it was her getting a chance to talk. And when she finds that person or people that she can talk to like that, it's going to be important. But like to add what Jessica said, some of the quotes about her were kind of quiet, reserved, have not gotten a good read, looks like a swimmer, mousy, shy, hunched over, poor posture, like she wants to be hidden, not confident in herself, does not walk into a room and command a room like a lot of these other people, not sure who will want to align with her, more introvert into herself. And that's kind of tough to get past. That's not all one person, that's multiple people. But man, once she starts talking, you just like her. She's so fun to listen to and talk to. And like you said, she's so smart. She knows a lot about Survivor. And the last thing she said is flexibility is the key. Right. And I like that. If she keeps that in the forefront with her skills and her knowledge and her schooling, I like her too.
I think they have a totally wrong read on her about confidence. Yeah. I personally think that she is incredibly confident, like in the sense that I am right, and that until you show her that she's not right, she's right. And that's not necessarily.
And they might the wrong read, so she has to overcome that initial read that they seem to all have about her.
Right.
And I hope that that's something that she can get past, because it's very telling when so many people have described you in such a similar fashion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know how it goes. It's like Sarah said on our podcast at the end of last season. Winning, a lot about winning is how everything falls into place. It all has to fall into place perfectly. And if you're on the tribe that has to vote out first day, on the third day, you could be, this could be the end of her game. Even though if she had been on the tribe that won a couple times, then her game goes all the way or goes a long way. So there's so much luck involved, and just kind of you're at the mercy of the, as they say, survivor gods. So.
That's
the David Wright God.
Or the David Wright
God.
Well, he does have the angelic glow tonight.
That's a great transition to a point I want to make at some point tonight is about luck. It's about getting that part of Survivor, the Survivor gods, I guess they called it. But like Denise Stapley, she fought. She was not getting luck. She was always at the bottom, it seemed like, of every tribe she went to, because her tribe got decimated. She got put on the tribe where she was by herself. But she went to every tribal council and she won. And then you got somebody like Jeremy during Second Chance, who was never really out of the numbers. He kept getting in positions where he was never in a minority of any tribe that he was in. Who are the people in this game that you think can survive a bad swap? I think Rourke, if you get to talk to her, I think she could be one of those people that could survive that. To me, that's kind of important. Somebody's going to get a bad swap. But at the same time, who of these people can pull out of a bad swap?
Well, what's so interesting too is on our season, Jessica, you remember obviously that like the swaps, I think it ended up being that someone from the majority alliances in each swap tribe, I think, went home.
Yeah, in every single one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but now we have 3 tribes. So who knows who knows how that's going to play out exactly in terms of the numbers. But yeah, it'll be fun to see.
Let's see. All right, so that's anybody else got anything on Rourke? I think we jumped around, so we got to go back to Joe.
Yeah, we got to go back to Joe.
Sorry, I threw you off there.
Oh,
Joe,
no, that's fine. I like transitions like that.
One who, whenever Prope says, "And you are the healers tribe," he's going to look around and go, "You pointed to the wrong people, right?" Because he's a probation officer.
He's there to secure the bag and walk away with the money.
Yeah, Prope's had to really work around to make him a healer. You know, he's a probation officer because he wants to help people get right, etc.
I'll tell you.
See it?
First of all, the thing I love most about this guy, swimming was his weakness, so he took swim lessons. Which I did as well, but they didn't take. He seems much more confident about his ability.
David, did you ask if you could bring floaties to the?
God, I would have loved that. I mean, that was like
one of those little rings.
That was the one good thing though about the buoy challenge. Like you could use the buoy to float, but yeah, and this is interesting too. He says that as a probation officer, he works with narcissists. So yeah, that should help him on an island populated with reality TV people, right? Like he knows how to handle narcissists.
I thought that was a great point. I loved it.
Yeah. And he says go ahead.
No, that's fine. Because I do think that his profession will help him greatly on the island because when you are a probation officer, I mean, I work with probation officers all the time. They are having to deal with so many things that we wouldn't even imagine in an everyday situation where they have to, who are trying to better themselves. They've a convicted criminal. There's a lot of elements that they're dealing with every single day. And so I do think that have an interesting leg up in dealing with people. I thought it was a great point that he said. I
wonder. He does admit, though, he's got this inability, though, because of his job to trust, which he admits could hurt him. So that's an issue with that. But I do agree that, working with the people in the way he does, he must have mad social skills. He must be really good at that. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, I guess.
Yeah, he says he knows when someone is lying. That would be a very beneficial attribute. Yeah. Oops.
That is huge.
Sorry.
I also love that he says...
I dropped my M&Ms.
He's not on this show be on TV or because he wants to become famous. Like, he's here because he wants $1 million. He wants to win. Like, that was his focus. He wants to win, and he's doing it for his family. Person that has his life in balance. He's got his job. He's got his career. He has his life all set. And being on Survivor was about winning Survivor. It wasn't about trying to be discovered or anything like that. And I think that people like that come into the game with a much different mindset. And so where his head is at, just get into the game to start.
Yeah, I agree.
He does admit that once you get to know me, you'll like me. But he does sometimes feel that initially he comes off as a jerk, or he used another term. But he says, but once you get to know me, you like me. And I think that's completely the case, that when a regular person, other than a criminal who has to deal with him or has to report to him, but as a regular person, Joe is just somebody I think that could get along with anybody. Just the way he is. I think he's adaptable in that sense. And plus he works with so many different types of people that he knows how to work with them and deal with them. But that's tough if you come across that way initially, and then you've got to get past that. So I didn't hear too many comments about Joe from the other people in the podcast, but I mean, that was enough just from him. They even compared him to Tony, and I don't know if it's because of the shaved head or what, but the producer said he's not as crazy as Tony, but Probst was worried that Wiggler was worried that if he exudes any Tony-like behavior, though, it could go bad if he plays anything like that.
Isn't it weird? I can't go through and tell you who all they are. I am not that knowledgeable of Survivor history, but so many of these people are like prototypes or copies of people in the past. I mean, it's like he looks like Tony, and some others look like other people. It was kind of, it stood out to me more this season than it ever has. I don't know if y'all caught on to that or if it was just me, but it feels like they definitely. I mean, this guy's not going to act like Tony just because he looks like him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I definitely saw some like really muscular guys that reminded me of me. So yeah,
exactly.
There's definitely seem to be.
And that's what bothered me because what if I applied and they let all these guys go just because and they look just like me? It's upsetting.
Oh, I think you'd be great, Dwayne.
Because I'm ripped.
You'd be crying.
Yeah, I'd be crying. All right.
So let's get to one of my favorite people to listen to.
He got 3 stars from me, so there you go.
3 stars.
Wait, I gotta say one thing before we move on, because I think David, you said when Jeff announces the theme of the show is, Joe's gonna look around and wonder why he's a healer. He did say that he's not going to tell people he's a probation officer, and he's going to wing it, and it's going to depend upon what the actual theme of the show is. So I think that's interesting, because I don't know if that's something that you can just say, I'm going to wing it.
Yeah, well,
so I'd
what's
like
he going
to
to
see
say?
how
You're honestly the perfect person to talk to about this, because I remember you didn't tell people you were a lawyer out there. You told them you were a photographer, and I believed you.
Well, but that was a plan from, like, before I even found out I was going on the show. Like, I decided I was not going to tell anyone I was a lawyer, that I was a photographer. And I at least had a backstory about, I used to be a photographer. So I had information, I had knowledge, and I had stories and things that had happened to me. He was going to wing it. I was a little concerned for him in that regard, because you have to have your story set if you don't want people to find out that you're lying about it. So yeah. Way ahead of time.
But he's also probably heard so many liars that he's probably got 1,000 stories he could pull from.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
He'll be great around the campfire too. If he were to admit he was a probation officer, which I don't know why he wouldn't admit that, but if he were to admit that, talk about some great stories. Mm-hmm. I feel like he would have some good stories.
He compared it to being compared to a police officer and how you can't trust him and this, that, and the other. So that's I think that's one reason why I mentioned he would lie.
Okay.
This next guy, the last member of the Healer tribe, I told Dwayne this guy's probably going to have his own podcast by the end of this season.
Man, I love
listening to him talk. He's got so many stories and so much to say. He's super smart, and I love the story of George R.R. Martin's story that he had as well. Even the story about the Apple TV, which I'm not going to repeat it. You can go listen to the podcast if you want to hear.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That was awesome.
Did y'all hear that story?
I missed that one.
Oh, well, let's just say he's a urologist and takes pictures of things, and they ended up on his TV during a party. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, I did hear that one. Yes.
You want to talk about somebody that's going to have everybody rolling around the campfire? That's this guy. Don't get rid of him, because he's entertainment.
Yeah, we've talked to folks that say they look for personalities, they look for different types, and Probst said he was a home run in 1.5 seconds.
Yeah,
he's an underdog, but as soon as they met him, the funny thing I wrote was he has 0 experience outdoors. He doesn't have any experience outdoors, but he did get training. He said he can make a fire with flint in less than a minute, and he had someone come over and teach him how to toss beanbags into a bucket. That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Well, when you
and he is very self-deprecating, just like you, David, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, he actually does remind me a lot of me, except he was able to find a woman that was willing to marry him. He's not like super physical, and obviously like that's going to be an issue pre-merge. But yeah, I mean, this is going to sound really self-serving, but because he reminds me of me, but I really do like him a lot.
Yeah. Well,
I do too. I think he's great. I think he's absolutely great. He's someone who, honestly, when the clips were released of their, I think it was like, why are you going to win? And it's just a quick little blurb. And I heard what he said, and I was like, oh Lord. And I don't know if it was just because he's so nervous, because this is like his dream. This is like the ultimate. This is the American dream, as he says. But then once he sat down with Wiggler and was really having a conversation with him, you can't help but be mesmerized and be really intrigued with what he's talking about, because he's a great storyteller. Yeah. So he is very, very similar to you, David, in so many aspects. And I think that poll. That might be the way it's going to go. I think that's a good read. I like that a lot. I really do.
Yeah, I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I hope he makes the family visit so he can, if his wife does come out, because she sounds as funny, if not funnier than him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he told her that he's the nerd that hangs out with the cool kids. And she said, no, you're the nerd that the cool kids tolerate.
Yes, that was a great line.
Oh,
I actually laughed out loud in the car when I heard that one. And how about the whole hall pass story?
Oh
my word, right?
She's like, well, you picked a stupid hall pass. At least I have a shot. Oh, man.
He hopes to be underestimated. He knows he's not intimidating. Good at sitting in a room and listening to people and then using that against them. Whereas it used to be a HIPAA violation if you used it outside the room. But now you can use it against him in the game of Survivor.
Yeah. Oh, man, he's going to be great. And he seriously could go very far, in my opinion.
I agree.
So, and I was going to say something, David, and I'll let y'all know, I don't begrudge anybody for making money, especially if they work for it. And he's obviously worked for it. But it's like whenever Oprah Winfrey lost all that weight, and I thought, really, you hired somebody to come in and cook for you, and you hired somebody to come in and train you. Of course you can lose weight. This guy, he hires somebody to help him stand on a cross beam and hire somebody to help him. He has a little advantage in that, which I think is pretty funny and pretty great.
Well, you have to prepare, and
but that's not something you want to say around the campfire.
No.
I paid this guy,
you don't want to talk about that.
I paid this guy $40,000 to come help me throw beanbags, so I think I can do well in that challenge.
Yeah, I could see him stand up saying, I had JT and Malcolm come over, and they were showing me how to toss the rings to run.
Yeah, exactly. But, okay, this guy, again, this is just so cool of him. He's closing down. I don't know if he's completely closing down because he's got other urologists that work in his office. But the ones that work for him specifically, he's not taking patients for all this time. His employees aren't working, but he's still paying them.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yep.
That is a guy that I like that. I like that about him a lot.
All right, so let me ask you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say he has some really funny T-shirts, by the way, if anyone is interested in his T-shirt.
Well, how would we find that? How would we find out if we're interested?
Well, I did post it on my Twitter page because the T-shirts made me laugh a lot, and I might just be T-shirt in the near future.
All right.
Well, now I want one.
I'm
telling you, they are phenomenal T-shirts. So check out his T-shirts because I do think, this is a great T-shirt. I love the shirt, but his T-shirts are quite funny.
Okay,
awesome. This is an okay shirt, but anyway, I'm just playing.
All right, listen. I'm just going to put this out there. It says, "Go hard or go home."
Well, that would make sense.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, they did say
you figure it out.
Yeah, they did say that he has so many urology stories that are a little on the edgy side that it's going to be hilarious. So
right.
Anyway.
All right, let me close out, Mike, by asking you experts this question of one of his strategies, and he was serious about it, and that using his old man status, that a lot of the older players he feels sometimes check out, like they're done, they're ready to be done. And he said one of his goals is to find an idol. He said win an idol, but I think he meant find a hidden immunity idol. And then tell them at some point in the game that he's done. When he feels like the numbers are coming after him anyway, tell him that he's done. Just to vote him out. He'll go out quietly and be done with it. And then turn around, play his idol, and on the ringleader and take out the ringleader. He's talking about how people don't like any votes cast against him. What do you guys think of that strategy?
I didn't.
It's interesting. It's really good for that one move.
Right.
But of course, after that one move, suddenly you've just admitted that you've just been lying to everybody.
And you don't have an idol anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
think better to save an idol for when you absolutely need it.
Yeah, I remember hearing him say that.
It's very risky. Very risky.
I remember hearing him say that and went, no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Stick to your stories. So. All right, we have one tribe left.
Yeah, so we still got another whole tribe.
That's all right. I'm having fun, so I hope y'all are, and I hope those are listening having fun.
This is great.
Oh, I know, it's great.
This is great, and I'm the I'm the part of the reason why we're so late, so I apologize.
It's like 5:00 in the afternoon for me, so I'm fine.
I don't even know what time it is.
Apparently, you live in Hawaii, so. All right, the Hustlers.
Oh my God, it's 11:30. Holy God. Okay.
It's the Hustlers tribe. You can do it, Jessica. You can do it.
Let's start with the personal assistant to Glozell Williams, Allie.
Whoever that is.
Who is 24.
You do know, Dwayne, you know her. You know her. I promise you do.
Okay. I'll look her up.
You know what video you've seen?
What?
She did the cinnamon challenge where she put like a spoonful of cinnamon in her mouth.
Oh. Okay.
I'm sure you've seen it.
No, she put a ladle full of cinnamon.
Ladle.
Yes, it was a whole, oh my goodness.
See, I would think that would be actually dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so too.
That can kill you.
Yeah.
It would kill me.
She's the lady with the green lips.
Be like,
it's the green lipstick,
Yeah.
Wait, that's the person that she's the personal assistant for.
Yes.
That's crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about the fact that a YouTube person can have a personal assistant? David, what are we doing wrong?
How about the fact that YouTube person has 4 million followers?
Wow.
I know.
What?
Hey,
it blows my mind.
I get 800 views.
Amazing, Dwayne.
Yeah, right. All right. Anyway, go on, David. I'm sorry. We took over.
Now, Probst said that she's got contagious energy, very likable, very bright, big smile, which is big in my book, and she's also intense. But would you guys have admitted if you went to college with David, Jessica, and suddenly saw him on the beach, Survivor, in another tribe from you, or in your same tribe, would you have admitted to anybody that you went to college with David and knew him?
No, because here's what goes through your head that they do. CBS, everything that happens, you think they're testing you. So I wouldn't tell anybody because I would be afraid it's a test. It's another part of the show. God, when I went to California for my first, my room wasn't ready. And they advised you can't talk to anybody, just go check in and go straight to your room. And my room was not ready. I went to check in. They're like, we're sorry, your room's not ready. You're going to have to go just sit in the lobby and wait. And I was freaking out because I was like, is this a test? Are they watching me to make sure I don't talk to anybody?
Where are the cameras?
So, I would not have told. So I would have just assumed that maybe this is a test. I wouldn't have said anything.
And see, I would have been afraid that they would have disqualified me. Right. Because wouldn't they have some backup people waiting in case something happened?
Probably.
Yeah,
Alternates?
maybe.
Yeah, Tina was an alternate. And she came in and won. So.
I would be I would not admit that at all. So
she put it in her two truths and a lie.
I know. And she has a valid concern. I'm smart enough to know not to say anything about it. Is he, and she doesn't think he is. And after listening to him, maybe he can get those words together and say it. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Patrick. But anyway, she has a valid fear, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, she said she's met a lot of people from different backgrounds.
Yes.
So she'll be able to get along with everyone in the game. So I think she'll be adaptable. And she also says she's very competitive. So again, that could go either way in terms of whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this guy's gonna have loose lips. But she sort of already has an alliance later in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Quite possible.
I like her philosophy was you can't come into the game like you do in real life. You can't judge people by their looks, even though we've heard a lot of that on First Impressions. She said you might have to bond with people you wouldn't actually bond with in the real world. I like that a lot because I think some people go into the game only wanting to work with people like themselves, and it hurts them in the long run. But it's going to test her mentally, physically, and emotionally. And she even talks about how you got to be careful with everything you do because Michaela put rocks on the ground. Next thing you know, she's voted out.
Mm-hmm.
So every little thing you do is getting watched and getting tested.
Yeah. And I would guess that being a personal assistant would be there's so many different things that you have to do the last minute. Okay, we need this done. I don't know. I feel like she'll be adaptable.
I do too, like keeping the plate spinning on different, all the different plates spinning.
Yeah.
She's also got a neat story about her uncle, that he was an alternate for Survivor.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Oh, I didn't hear that. Where was that? I didn't hear that.
It was in
Josh's podcast. She said that he passed away, though, before his chance came up. Go back. He was in Jerusalem.
Yeah, what a freaky way to pass away. You're in great health, and you go to Jerusalem, and you pass away in Jerusalem. That's just that's weird. So, but anyway,
I like her.
I like that she's a there are several lifelong Survivor fans, and I really like that.
Yes,
I don't remember.
There were a lot of them.
I don't remember which one it was, but one of them was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of Survivor," and then the next thing you know, it's because they gave me a lot of DVDs. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember who that was, but I thought that was funny. Yep. I gave her 3 stars, so possibly
give her 4.
Possibly 4.
Except for Simone's comment about how she's so pretty, she didn't like her. So,
well, I'm sure Simone has something to say about that.
Simone's got something to say about everything.
Simone is a little wild.
Oh yeah, she does.
She might get quite a few titles.
She's. I can't wait to hear her during the show. I hope she lasts a long time because her confessionals are going to make me laugh. They're going to make my day.
I do like that Allie has a say yes to everything attitude too, where she gets it. That like you don't turn people down if they're going to come to you and say you want to be in this alliance. Like she already knows to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Keep your options open.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for her too.
If she can pull off an Adam. Go ahead, David.
Sorry, go ahead. That was part of Sarah's alliance, in that she said yes to every alliance. So she had like 18 alliances when the game started.
Yeah, and Adam did that too. Adam somehow was in everybody's alliance. Anyway, go ahead.
What? Well, that's all I had for Allie.
So funny. What'd I do wrong, Jessica?
Ready to move on to millennial number 2 with Devin.
Boy. Oh boy.
Keep calling him millennial.
He's doing it as a joke, too.
This is the 25-year-old tribe.
Yeah.
I know. It's funny, though. You're going to confuse people. They're going to be like, wait a second, what?
It's an old podcast.
All right, Devin.
What are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Devin.
Oh.
Devin.
Can I weigh in on Devin?
Oh, please do.
Please.
Because he, so I think Devin is basically, Jessica, you'll know Devin. I think he's basically Taylor from our season. He's a surf instructor. But now he also did some bartending, so that and he thinks that people are going to underestimate him as just some surfer dude when in fact he graduated college and has a real estate license. So he says he's going to play dumb and let them underestimate him. But yeah, he reminds me of Taylor. Swimming won't be an issue, obviously. The bartender, again, will give him the social skills. He's got this plan to play dumb, so. I think that could backfire against him if with the jury, if he doesn't take ownership over a move or two, they're going to think that he didn't do anything and they'll just see him as a goat. But again, he seems very likable, and likability is a huge factor in winning the game. So I don't know. I could see him going pretty far if not winning.
Yeah. One thing.
Well, I do see the Taylor likeness, and the one thing that he said that I thought was interesting was, "I'm that guy. I've had the best of luck. Will be enough." Like he's very proud of himself, and I thought that was interesting. I feel like he is going to present himself in a very similar fashion. I mean, Taylor was very proud of himself, but Taylor was also that guy that surprised you. Like he presented himself as that surfer dude, starts speaking another language, and I was like, what just happened? And Taylor's like, oh yeah, no, and he knows like 4 or 5 languages or something. So Devin might surprise us but he's going to need to know how to get past that. He's just that surfer dude.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
One thing I thought was humorous. Of course, you know me. I find these humorous things. He talked about all the jobs that he's done. And then later on he said, but I've graduated college and have a real estate license. And that wasn't one of the jobs he mentioned.
But that's exactly like Taylor. I didn't really know what Taylor's job was because every time he spoke, he had a different job. And I was always I was like, well, he's a beekeeper. He's a snowboard instructor. I mean, like, you name it, Taylor had done it. And And that sounds like Devin. It definitely sounds like Devin.
Yeah. Well, Wiggler sure did like him. Wow.
Who did?
Wiggler. He liked him a lot.
He had his man crush on him.
Yeah.
I think
this is a man crush.
I think it could go either way. I do like the fact that he's a lifelong fan, that he's watched them all. But there was a line he said, how he wants to play, as you all just said, as a dumb-sounding surfer boy, considers himself an intellectual, but won't talk like one. Play dumb and hope they'll pick off the smarter people who try to run things, hoping they'll vote out the buff dudes. Where's the part where he mentions he has a part in the vote, or he works to control the vote? And it's almost as if he's going to hope that others play his game, or at least others do things that don't affect him. And I did like him. He came across as a very nice guy. I love his ideas for the money and what he wants to do. But at the same time, don't play so much as a dumb surfer boy like this that you don't have anything at the end to show why you should get the money or the moves that you made.
Yeah, the resume of it all, for sure.
Yeah. So I only gave him 2. Sorry.
2?
Yeah. And
I think
again,
they're underestimated, but go ahead.
And again, like when I was listening to the Wiggler interview, I couldn't figure out why he had a man crush on him. Unless it's because they shared a lot of the same political views, probably, and a lot of the same passion, because Devin really has a passion for helping others, and wanting to start that stuff. And that probably, I'm purely guessing here, pure conjecture, that he probably related to that, and that may be why he got that man crush on him. Or he may just thought he was going to do well. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. David can text him and find out, because David knows him, apparently. David and Wiggler started to talk. Way to go.
So, unless y'all got anything else on Devin, Dwayne only gave him 2 stars. Moving on to
Lauren.
This is, to me, the person that looked around her tribe and said, am I on the right tribe? Because I'm 35 and they're all like just drinking age. There's something wrong with this tribe. Why am I with these kids? And I hope it doesn't come back to hurt her that she's looked at as the older person. She's, to me, like an old soul. She's a hardworking person. She's got her business. She's got her life set. She's got a great kid. She loves her family so much that it broke her up as she was talking about them.
Yeah.
That's somebody I can relate to, because when I talk about my kids and my wife, it gets to me as well. I really, really like her as a person. I feel like she got a bad draw getting on this tribe. I just do. I feel like she's going to be singled out if they don't win a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, as far as first of all, I like her a lot. But as far as just because we're talking about a negative thing, I mean, she says she's hard-headed and stubborn, and that other people have to be flexible around her. So that's not good. But she does seem to have self-awareness of that. So, she'll have to work to keep that from bubbling to the surface. But what's interesting to me too, she says she's a fisherman. Is there no such thing as a fisher woman? Is that not a thing?
Apparently
too many
not.
syllables, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
I do think it's funny. Everyone was calling her a fisher. They were like, she's a fisher, because they didn't want to say like fisher or woman. They were just saying fisher. What are you doing?
I have besides the fact that Simone says she has that special touch, I have a different take on what if they were forced to vote someone out. I almost feel like she's going to perform so well in the challenges and stuff, and I don't think people are going to dislike her. I think Patrick would probably go before she does. I really do.
I think she's got a good shot, because she's got kind of a no-nonsense kind of attitude, and she's clearly a hard worker, and I think that's going to come across.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd actually look to her for guidance, because if Devin is trying to play this I'm not that bright surfer guy, he might go to the elder on the tribe and say, hey, what do you want to do? Help me out here. So that might actually work to her benefit, because she might be viewed in that light. And I know we haven't talked about Ryan yet, but it'll be interesting to see how Ryan fits into that mix as well. But I think Lauren might end up being in a really good place, because her attributes are going to help carry her, as opposed to being a hindrance to the tribe. I think they're going to see that able is beneficial to them, and they're going to want to keep her for that reason.
I hope so. I really hope so. And I also really liked what she said about not saying she's a fisherman, in that if she puts that label on herself, she's got to go out and provide and prove it. But she'd rather go out and help somebody else fish and help bring in the load. It's somebody else's call, but she'd be more than willing to help. But that's to me, that's really smart, because there's 3 things you don't want to say you are when it comes to Survivor. I'm not a professional fire starter. I'm not a professional shelter builder. And I'm not a professional fisherman. So don't expect me to do any of those things very well, or else you're in trouble. If somebody says they can't do something, they're out. So that was really smart. I hope it does. I could see Allie turning towards her, and especially like Dwayne said about Simone, saying her first contact with Lauren was that, wow, you have like a gentle soul touch. That's really unique. I could work with that.
And I hate you for it. She said, and that makes me like you, so I hate you for that.
Yeah. So I hope it does work out that way. It just hit me right away, and that she's the 30-year-old on a tribe of 20-year-olds. So,
yeah,
and I hope that doesn't hurt her.
About the whole fisherman thing. She's not somebody that goes out there and spearfishes, however you say it. And she's not somebody that goes out there and fishes with a pole. She's a crabber and stuff. She's throwing stuff over a big boat. So
doesn't matter. If you work in a boat and you pull in fish, I'm going to expect you to go out there and walk on water and pull in fish.
Oh, well, I'm not.
Go catch some crab.
Fisherman.
She did say.
Fisher pastor, go catch some crab, yeah.
She said she could go catch crab, though. She did say that.
Yep.
So, got to be careful catching those crabs.
And Patrick's not too good at killing sharks either, but that's what I got about, and she knows landscaping. That's going to be her lie, that she's a landscaper. So
yeah, I
do like her. I liked her a lot, and I'm going to pull for her. But I just hope that the age thing doesn't hurt.
I gave her 4 stars. I think she's going to be endearing to people in that way that sometimes people just get on your good side and you like them. And,
I think I like her a lot. I love the bucket of popcorn too, by the way. I think that's awesome. Yeah. Remember the bucket of popcorn?
I do not remember.
You paid $20 for like a year. So how you pay $20 at the local movie theater worth of popcorn, and she actually goes there just to fill up the bucket of popcorn before she watches Survivor. I think that's awesome. She gets a deal on it, and I'm like, you're my girl. I love people like that are like, I'm going to save some money here, and I'm going to this long-term plan with a bucket of popcorn. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Oh boy.
All right, so we like Lauren. Moving on to Cochran's long-lost cousin, the sunburned Patrick, 24, and he fooled Probst. I'm trying to think of how he did that.
Is he the one that fooled Probst?
Yeah, Probst said he fooled him. Patrick presented himself as a likable, hardworking guy, but the day before filming, he seemed to be a conniver.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks he could be seen as the odd man out who need to turn on the charm, maybe closer to a villain than a hero in how he plays.
He seemed kind of scatterbrained to me.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sold that he actually knew a lot about Survivor. I think he said he watched a few seasons, then he kind of fell away from it, when he went to college or something like that.
Yeah, he didn't watch anything until he became a candidate, Yeah. And then they gave him a free login to CBS.com and told him to go watch some. And I don't know. I just don't. He's my other 1 star. I do have 2 1 stars. I don't have any hope for this guy.
Wow. That's interesting you say that, because I think he seems to fit in really well with this idea of a hustler. Just because he did create his own company, the moving company. And maybe we could say that hustlers would not be good in the game, but I will say that he says he's not going to trust anyone in the game. And if you want to win this game, you do have to establish trust with at least one person. Yeah. And so that's a big issue.
Yeah. And he was so
paranoid.
He
also doesn't like Sandra. I have an issue with that. A lot of them didn't like Sandra.
Oh, no. Who doesn't like Sandra?
There was quite a few of them that they did not like. She was their least favorite survivor is Sandra. And I don't know how anybody can.
How could you not like Sandra?
Oh, Allie said that was her philosophy as well, that anybody but me. She was one of the ones that did like her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
there's quite a few that said they didn't like. That was one. He was the one that didn't like Sandra.
Patrick probably saw.
The best advice he received was find one strong person you can rely on, which is great advice, but I don't know where he's going to gravitate towards. Like, I don't know who he's going to end up meshing with on this particular tribe. If that's the mindset he's going into, find one strong person you can rely on. I'm not sure who he's going to end up.
Yeah. He was just so...
He admits he's a bad liar, and it just felt like a lot of his answers were cardboard cutouts of other answers. I hate to say that, but I just didn't get the impression that he was creative or was going to be able to work his way into a situation where he had the best resume at the end.
You know, the impression I got that he found out he was going to be on the show, and he thought, okay, well, I'll watch some seasons. And then he got tired of watching some seasons and just figured, I'll make it. That's the impression I got from him. That when he got there on the island and he got in there with Wiggler, he didn't know enough to be able to really have a conversation with Wiggler. And he was so freaking paranoid about everything in the interview that also struck me.
Oh, because he whispered through the first third of it.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, is this?
He was really hard to listen to. I have to say he's kind of, I mean, he's very quiet.
Yeah.
And that was hard. And he was hard to listen to.
Right. And the only thing he spoke of with any intelligence, if I remember correctly, was his business. Everything else was kind of out there, like he didn't know the answers.
His business was brilliant. That was really smart how he did that. But yeah, when it came to the game type stuff, I just didn't get it. But speaking of somebody that knew what they were talking about, it went from Patrick to Ryan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Talk about he was disappointed that Dalton and Gordon were not out there.
I know.
He only got Wiggler.
I must admit, I never thought of bellhops as hustlers, but I guess you got to hustle up to that room.
Well, he's had a lot of jobs, so you could look at it that way, that he's, just I love him. He reminds me a little bit of me, but I think really he reminds me more of Adam from our season. He also, as a bellhop, he had to talk to a lot of strangers. That's good for his social skills. He overcame a speech impediment, and he says he's fine with not being in control right away, and that's a good strategy. So he's a super fan. I do worry, though, about just his weight. He's like already really thin, so he doesn't have a lot to lose. And again, pre-merge, he doesn't look like the most physical person. Even if he is, he doesn't look it. And so he could have a big target on his back. But he's very well spoken, and that'll help him out at tribal council. So I don't know. I could see him making. If he makes it to the merge, I feel pretty good about him.
I think if he makes it to the merge, his turtleneck is going to be nothing but a neck because he's going to be so hot in that thing.
Yeah,
he's got to keep the turtleneck part, but it's going to be hot in that thing.
Simone, the ever observant, said that he's got to chill. So right away, everybody wants to work with him, but he's worried that no one will want to work with him. His nervousness is showing.
Now, see, I wonder if he's like, David, you're right, in that aspect that when he first got there, he was like, game on so much. I wonder if that's the way it's going to be for him. Could be.
Yeah. And there's that really great moment in the trailer that Jeff teased at the end of last season where he just like looks just under his brow, like, askance at somebody OS. Yeah. And I don't know. I who knows how far he'll go, but I think he's going to be great TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love his answer as to why he's going to win too, because he's average enough. I thought that was fantastic. Like, that's such a great answer.
Yeah.
Because he's not putting himself out there as some athletic individual, and so maybe he's going to present himself in a great fashion, that he's not a super duper fan and doesn't know everything about the game. I love that I'm average enough. I think that's fantastic.
I like that he looked at the beginning and the end of this thought, and that he said people like David and Hannah and Zeke help Ryan get into the game. He might have said Adam. I don't know if he said, but to get onto the show, he also feels the heat of how they did.
Yeah.
Because they all did well. They're all really smart. But he's the other one that talked about, if you watch the show and listen to the podcast, it all seems like strategy. But a lot of it happens off camera. Normal conversations about life. He's like Game of Thrones and other stuff in movies. Then you have that little bit of a relationship. And then you build that strategy. This is like the other half of that, what we were talking about earlier about getting to know someone and getting them to trust you through real life and through real conversations. How much was that a daily event for y'all, having just real conversations? Were any of them fake? Were most of them real?
Go ahead, Jessica. You can speak to that, and I'll probably double down.
I do think that the that nighttime was when we really opened up and told most stories. I mean, the sun would go down at what was probably 6 or 7, and we'd be laying there for like 12 hours of dark. So
it's really true.
We would be talking, and people would all tell stories about themselves. And I learned very, very quickly that David Wright was a great storyteller and would be extremely dangerous in a final 3 because he's so well. I'm telling you, you were such a great storyteller, and I wish you could share some of the stories that you told because they were so funny.
Yeah,
but, I know. God, I don't even remember them. I do remember though. I do remember being in the shelter with you and a bird running through the fire, catching on fire, then running into the shelter.
Wow!
And this horrible burnt bird smell. And for all you animal lovers, the bird is fine. It lived.
No animals were hurt during this podcast.
Yeah, But we
weren't allowed to touch those birds because they were they were endangered.
Yeah, you are not allowed to save that bird's life.
Fire.
Yeah.
Concerned about the bird. The producers helped it, but yes, that did happen.
But Jessica's right. Like at night, when there really is nothing to do except lie there, and you're not tired immediately. You just talk and tell stories and learn about each other. And that's when the real bonds are formed. And of course it doesn't really make the air because it's not really strategy based, but it's equally as important.
Yeah.
That's where it drives me nuts when I see people get up and walk away for some reason. I was like, this is the time. This is where you lock in with these people, whether you're talking strategy or about your kids. Don't walk away from a situation where you can get to bond with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, very important.
Anything else about?
I like Ryan. I hope he makes it to the merge because he's somebody I want to watch play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's going to be great.
I gave him 3 stars. I know y'all are mad at me for that.
We are.
Dwayne,
I hope you're going to tweet all
you
this.
are so cute. I swear to God. Dwayne just comes in at the end. He's like, I gave him 2 stars.
Yeah, I disagree.
He sneaks in at the end. You're all wrong.
I gave him 3 stars. Now, how about that Simone?
So moving on, 3 stars.
Okay. Yeah, moving on, 3 stars. 3 stars.
It's so good. And after all of this, he's going to be right, and we'll all be wrong.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm like Dwayne. I hope Simone goes far because I want to keep listening to her comments.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like Michaela.
Oh my word.
Too honest.
About Simone now?
Yes. Boy, I did not expect what I heard with her, with a Wiggler. I was so shocked. I mean, she says the things that we think that we don't say. You know what I mean?
Well, then take her to the end because that's good TV. That's great.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I can't wait to hear her. She's not afraid to say anything.
I love Simone. She's also said very nice things about me, so that helps. But
yes.
I do like she says she's going to keep smiling while she's voting people off. So I love that there's this little kind of villain streak in her. So it'd be nice to have another Survivor villain emerge. So if it's her, then great.
Wasn't she the one that says "smile until you kill him"?
That's it. Exactly right. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
She's also the one.
She hasn't been watching the show that long. She's just recently become a Survivor fan. I think as recent as this election, I think she said. So
yes.
I don't know if she's had an opportunity to really study the game enough to understand that be brutally honest and to say what she's thinking might bite her in the butt. That might not be the best strategy for her because she hasn't watched enough of the show.
Yeah, you're right. She called it constructive confrontation, but any form of confrontation is not good in that game.
No.
I mean, and I feel like someone like Lauren is not going to handle that well. Like Lauren's not going to want to tolerate it.
Oh no, no.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that's going to bode well with a relationship with Lauren. Maybe even Allie for that matter.
And she also has this, I am so much better than you. You know, like
yes,
like the whole Patrick thing. Dude, don't look at me like that. You don't even have a six-pack. Hello.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you approached her somewhere to ask her out and she would just like put you in your place?
I would love that.
She would put you in your place, David. She'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah. So
yeah, that's perfect for me actually. But yeah, that probably says something about me.
Yeah. What would be really bad is if you got her and Colton together. Can you imagine her and Colton together? So what she can't do.
My word.
Right. She cannot find someone who has that same personality as her, which I don't think there's anybody out there. But if she did, it'd be the end of her because she'd be feeding off of that. Yeah, but boy, she's confident, and I'm better than you. In fact, if you're beautiful, she doesn't like you. Just because she would hate you.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
Oh, you're too sweet. I'm not beautiful, but thank you.
Like you don't know that
stop
already.
it, Jessica. Yes, you are.
Oh, stop it.
Well, I appreciate it. You're so sweet. But no, she did say that about Allie. She's like, they're on a tribe together.
Yeah.
So
I hate her.
She does have a very concept in how she judges people and how the physical appearance affects what she thinks about the person. That was a very strong message she was sending, and I think she's going to clash with a lot of women that she carries herself. And it's great to be confident. Nothing wrong with being confident, but you can't put other people down when you're being confident in yourself. So I think she might be the one that clashes with people because she's going to say what she thinks, and she's not going to think is a problem.
Right. I mean, the first time she says something incredibly mean about somebody else, like if she did that to me, I'd be like, okay, I need to distance myself from this one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Brooks brought that up too, and that she is not afraid to say something, but she needs to not do it publicly. Right. Or she needs to not analyze with her face so that people see that. She needs to do it while she's, eating a banana in the tree or in the hammock or whatever it is. She needs to do it casually and not let people see that she's judging them or analyzing them.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that may be her fault. It also may be a problem for her that she's not an outdoor person.
Yeah.
And is not sure how to poop in the woods. She loves about it, but just not comfortable with that.
Pooping in the woods is not how you do it. If I can just
Exactly.
weigh in on that.
Oh no, we've been told about the aqueduct. So
Yeah. Although I don't do that either.
What'd you do,
David?
You dig a hole in the sand, do your business, cover it up because you should definitely cover it up, and then you go into the water and kind of get clean.
You wash yourself up.
Why don't you just do it in the water?
No, because then I did that once and
it floats and goes around. And...
No, it floated around me and then all these fish came up and started eating it. And I actually thought it was the first time I did it. I'm like, I could just reach down and bring these fish back to the tribe. But hey guys, here's some fish, but they ate my poop.
What kind of bait did you use? I used my poop.
Yeah, you don't mind, right?
I'd be afraid they'd want to come. I'd be afraid they'd want to come nibble at something else, and then I'd really be not happy.
So funny.
Because that would hurt.
If I find a trail of the poop, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that when you were doing that, Ken wasn't involved because Ken was very upset with Adam for pooping where he was fishing. Very upset.
Yeah.
Not a good day.
So,
not a good day.
David, do you mind if I go ahead and go on to the CBS promotion for this first episode?
Yeah, I didn't have anything else for Simone.
CBS says one tribe will earn an advantage when the game is immediately ignited by the season's first challenge, which sounds to me like there's going to be a challenge on the beach, right, when they're there. And there is a super idol that comes with a new twist. A super idol.
Super idol. Big twist.
Super
it's
Idol.
David Wright.
Yeah.
No,
if you
no.
can find
Wright
David Wright's
coming to help
poop
you.
from a couple seasons ago,
Definitely not me.
If you can dig that poop up, you get immunity.
Well, that was the funny thing too. Speaking of digging for the poop. Sorry, another story, but like that would always be like this terrifying thought you'd have, like as you're digging, like, oh, am I going to run into some buried treasure right now? Because I don't remember where they all are.
Some buried fish food.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what
It was like a litter box out there. So
yeah.
And it's not like you could mark it because then somebody else would look at it and say, oh, "That's obvious. Somebody dug something right there. Let me go find out what that is."
Oh, that
and
would
I
be
had
hilarious.
like my favorite little section. So if I was going to run into anyone's, it was going to be my own. But still, it's just gross.
Wow, this is great.
Because there was like this. There was this tree, and I would like hang my clothes on the tree, and then I would sit down.
Nice.
See, you do. I agree with David. You have to have an area, but you do need to be able to the areas you've been in, so you don't run into that issue because that would be problematic.
Wow.
Absolutely. And I will add, just since we're talking about pooping stories, someone, and I don't know who did it, upset the producers greatly because they pooped on the trail.
Yeah.
Who did it?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Someone pooped next to the shelter. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
Everybody thought it was Taylor because it was like his last, hurrah or whatever.
Man.
Before he got voted out. But
do you know what Sierra told us?
So.
I don't know if you listened to our Sierra podcast. She had 2 the whole time she was out there.
Oh my God! Oh,
that's what she said.
What?
She had 2. She also told us she only poops like once a week anyway.
Oh, what?
What the heck? And she only did it twice the whole time she was out there. If I remember, it was either twice or once.
And didn't seem phased at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you got to listen to the last 45 minutes of that episode. It is hilarious.
Everybody does start off very constipated for sure. But twice. That's horrible.
I think Joe only went once. And that's kind of what knocked him out of the game.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
I'd be doing... Anyway.
That's awful.
Thousands of people have turned off the podcast at this moment.
I know. We just spent an hour on poop.
Yeah. They're like, okay, I'm already 2 hours and 42...
Speaking of poop, Jessica Johnston mentioned the fact that she had pooped. She talked to Wiggler about it. So, it's a thing.
There you go. So we hit the low at 2 hours and 42 minutes talking about poop. There you go. Well, I want to thank both of y'all for being on the show. It was absolutely wonderful having you on. Jessica,
wonderful being here. Thanks for having us.
Jessica, you have been most assuredly a favorite guest, and we will miss you over the next couple of however long you get to do this. And honestly, I was telling Rob, it's a wonderful opportunity for you, and I'm very happy for you. It's going to be great.
Dwayne, thank you so much. That really means the world to me. And I really to have been introduced to this world I didn't even know existed through each of you. I mean, you were
thank you.
Some of the first exposure I had to the podcasting world, and it's been an incredible experience with both of you. You've been so supportive and so much fun, and I've enjoyed all of it. So I'm sad I won't be spending any more time with you through this season.
Right.
But I will be listening, I will be watching, and I will be tweeting. I promise you that. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And David,
chips.
And David, your intro last season ranks right up there, if not one of the best. I mean, if not the best, one of the best intros we've ever had. So
thanks so much. I mean, thanks for finding any value in it at all. I appreciate that.
I remember the first time I played it, David went, "Okay, that was awesome." So seriously,
Thank you.
That's great.
I don't know if you remember that you did that, but you did.
I did. I actually remember I did. I did it in the bedroom where I was in high school and on the floor, weirdly. But yeah, I remember recording it.
Yeah, I saw the look on your face. Oh, that was this podcast? Oh, okay.
I forgot about that because I don't listen to you. No, I'm just playing.
That's all right. I'll be listening to Jessica, and I'll keep harassing her in our little chat.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to your podcast. That's going to be awesome. So
yeah.
And in just a minute, I'm going to give you.
Keep my fingers crossed it goes well. I'm excited.
Yeah. In just a minute, I'm going to ask you all if you have any final words about the season or anything. So just let me get there. I want to thank all of you amazing listeners and you watchers. And if you like the show Netflix series Stranger Things, you can listen to us talk about it on our Rewind Fast Forward with D&D podcast. I don't know if either one of you are fans of Stranger Things, but we had a lot of fun talking about it for this last season. Check it out. Rewind Fast Forward with D&D. We had a lot of fun with that. And if you would like to support us financially or just get the show before Saturday morning, go to our website, scroll down, and look for the flippy things. They're really cool to scroll your mouse over. In front of the cast photo, D&D patrons have immediate access to all of our episodes, so get on board with the monthly donation of no more than a cup of coffee. And I can handle a cup of coffee. So I'll ask you first, David, since you knew it was coming. Do you have any final words?
It's for me as a Survivor super fan, it's like really hard in between seasons. They take forever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like so excited for next Wednesday for some heroes, healers, hustlers. Let's get it on.
Yeah. And I'm so excited. Like the 12th week, I might be able to say that. Maybe. That is so hard for me to say. Hero, healer, hustler. I get all caught up in the H's.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
Very much.
So, well, I agree with you. I can't wait either. I'm so. Is it a 90-minute one?
It's only an hour. Weirdly.
What the heck? Well, at least we won't have the awkward. Episode 2, week 3. Episode 2, week 1 type of things that we did all last season. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
How about you, Jessica? Go ahead, David.
Go ahead, Jessica. No.
All right, David. Jessica.
I, too, am extremely excited about the upcoming season. Love Survivor. And the one thing I have to say is being on the show and having experienced the lead up to the show, I'm with people. I feel for them. This is probably one of the worst weeks of their life and also the most exciting week of their life.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. You know what you did when you were on the island, but you're not sure how it's going to be shown.
Right.
And it's this you can't even describe because you're excited and nervous and scared and just all of these emotions are swirling through you. So the 18 of you, good luck, enjoy it, love every second. I can't wait to watch. I think this is an incredible cast. There's so many great characters to look forward to. It's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I would be a nervous wreck every single Wednesday night.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, like I would wake up Tuesday morning, and that's when the anxiety would really kick in, and it wouldn't go away till 9:00 on Wednesday, and then just to reset again the next week.
Yeah.
Awful.
I mean, I'd be like, okay,
that's awful and
what
great
all
at the same time.
Yeah, what did I say?
Exactly. Yeah.
What did I say?
Oh, and by the way, if any of this cast is watching right now, the best advice I could give them is don't apologize to anybody you played with until that thing you're apologizing about airs. Because it might not. And it probably won't.
Yeah, so. I'm sorry I called you a total jerk.
Point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Yes, wow. That's a good point.
Well, how
and
about
don't play any tricks on anyone you played the game with and call them the night of the premiere and go, hey, by the way, I just wanted you to know I called you blank the entire season on each of my confessionals.
Oh.
And then, don't do that either.
He tried to rope me into being part of that. You know that, right?
It was horrible. I was losing my mind. It was horrible. So, yes, that was a little joke that Ken played on me the night of the premiere.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do this.
David Jones, you look like you have a lot of stuff to say. I hope I didn't cut out anything that you wanted to do here at the end. I apologize if I did. Feel free to do it if you want, or final words.
Nobody's ever told me I look like I have a lot to say. No, I want to give just one more shout out to Josh Wigler for doing these podcasts.
Oh, man.
They're a Hollywood reporter, and Rob has a podcast production. They were great, and what I get most out of them is I feel like I already know these people, and I haven't even seen the first episode yet. These conversations were so good and so personal that I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and it just hyped me up even more. So I appreciate Josh doing that and them letting him do that. And I thought it was great. I hope they do it again next season. I like knowing things before we get into the season. We know nothing about the season, but I feel like we know these people and some of their impressions, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and Josh did an amazing job.
Yeah, he did. And I would much rather listen to their responses than read about them.
Yeah.
Because I learned so much, or I at least feel like I learned so much more by hearing them give those answers. You know?
Yeah.
I really did. Sure. And I will openly admit, David and I are always trying to improve our podcast because, you know, you can always get better. And he does something at the end of his podcast that I really liked. And so I will admit that I'm going to do it myself. He gets a lot of stuff said at the end after it's over. You know, probably 95% of the people don't listen to it. But I really liked what he did. He thanked a lot of people, and he gave props to things. And so I'm going to start doing that. It'll be at the end of our audio podcast. So I'm pretty excited about it. And he won't hear this, but I thank him for improving our show because of that.
I'll bet he will hear it. So yes, don't be so sure of that.
Well, all right. So my final word, I guess I just gave it. Except this oh man, this is one of the best casts ahead of time. I am so excited to watch this.
Me too.
Really
Can't wait.
Lots of people I want to watch play. Yep.
Yeah. So
order the pizzas now.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, I enjoyed my peanut M&Ms.
Chips.
Yes, I enjoyed my peanut M&Ms. Probably about 888 calories worth.
Don't forget your almonds.
That's right. And you enjoyed your almonds. And David, did you enjoy your chips? His mic.
My chips just muted me. For some
I was going
reason.
to say he was eating a chip as I asked that.
No, I did. I enjoyed the few that I had, but I'm going to enjoy the rest tomorrow on my day off.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be up for the next couple hours, so I'm going to enjoy the rest of these when I'm doing that. And Jessica, you enjoy your chips. It's always been fun.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah. You guys are fabulous.
It was a fun preseason party, and y'all, that is all. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night. Everybody who watched us live and everybody who listened later on, thank you so much. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Survivor Talk with D&D is a production of D&D Podcasting and is hosted by David Jones and Dwayne Stroud, the two Ds in D&D. We're two best friends who decided way back in December of 2011 that we wanted to share our love of Survivor with all who would listen. Follow me on Twitter at Survivor_talk. Join our Facebook group at stwdd.com/Facebook. A special thanks goes out to Adam Klein, the winner of Survivor Millennials vs. Generation X, for providing both his voice and time for our show introduction. The amazing music you heard is Never Again by Breaking Benjamin. Thank you to Mark Percy, who creates all of our graphics and puts up with my OCD for each new graphic he creates. Thank you to Patrick Monroe, who spent countless hours designing our website and continues to provide support at all hours of the night. Visit our website at stwdd.com for quick and easy access to our most recent shows, as well as all of the others. Discover our two other podcasts, Rewind Fast Forward with D&D and Movie Talk with D&D. Check out our D&D store for shirts, hoodies, and even coffee mugs, or just look around and click on things. We couldn't create and produce our podcast without the financial support of our D&D patrons, as well as those who use our Amazon links. So thank you for going above and beyond and sharing in the fun of D&D. Become a D&D patron at stwdd.com/patron and enjoy immediate access to all of our shows prior to their release date. On a personal note, thank you to David for your friendship and for not telling me I was crazy about this whole podcasting thing. To God be all the glory. Thanks for listening.